Hey friends, it's JJ and Dave, and we wrote a song with our friend Leslie Jordan 2 days ago. And normally we would spend some time in the studio making a beautiful recording of a song, and then we'd share it with you. But we're all stuck in our houses and we can't get into the studio. So
we wrote this song about this time right now.
That is so true. So we didn't want to wait. We wanted to share it with you right now. Even though after this video, you may search the internet and there is no recording, there is no song in existence of this. All you have is this. So we hope that it's an encouragement to you. It's called You Already Know. Everything around me seems uncertain, and my weary heart can't take much more surprise. I wish there was a point on the horizon, something I could see with my own eyes. I need to tell you that I'm scared. I feel completely unprepared. Nothing's what it was 2 weeks ago. But you already know. You already know. Everything I'm scared of, everything I hope. You hold my tomorrow, and all tomorrow holds. You already know. I can't seem to find the easy answers. Someday I hope the suffering makes sense. I just need to know that you are with me, even if you keep me in suspense. We talk so much these days because I have so much to say. You stay and listen to me closely, even though you already know. You already know. Everything I'm scared of, everything I hope. You hold my tomorrow, and all tomorrow holds. You already know. Whatever I'm feeling, whatever is coming, whenever the ending, you're already there. You go before me, you go behind me. Wherever I'm going, you're already there. You already know. You already know. Everything I'm scared of, everything I hope. You hold my tomorrow, and all tomorrow holds. You already know. You already know. That was good. Got all choked up at the end.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So that was
Morning.
wait, that was
Hey,
that,
Carolina, Laura.
so that was the children of the speakers. That was Alan's son and daughter-in-law, and Polly's too. But Polly's not there, but Alan's there.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's good to see everyone. Susan, is your microphone working today?
Yes, it is.
Oh, wow. So good to hear you. Yay. It's so good to hear you. Well, welcome everyone. It's so wonderful and good to see everyone here this morning. And I think those, can we give a round of applause to JJ Heller? You know, like those songs are amazing. Yeah. They're very real. I think they're just real. I think they go with life. I think we all struggle with so many of those things, and I think in beautiful melody, it puts what many of us cannot verbally say out loud, you know. And I think it's wonderful. So, Alan, that's wonderful. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Alan.
Beautiful.
We've used her songs before without, well, we didn't know you then. Now we know you, so we can boast about it.
Yeah.
Now we know the parents of the children.
Right. Well, they're our claim to fame. They certainly have gone a lot further than we could ever go. But don't you want your kids to be able to outstrip you?
100%, 100%. Luz, Luz, it's so nice to have you here with us today. I also see Nancy. Nancy, welcome. Luz, it's so nice to have you here with us.
Good to see you all. I'm looking forward to today's class.
Yes.
Hi. Oh, look at your hair, so long. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Luz.
Well, it's good to see you, Nancy. Nancy,
Nice to be here. Nice to see you.
I'm glad you're here.
Wow.
We get surprised by all these wonderful people that join. Luz Garzon is also here, so happy you're here. And everyone else that's here, and just welcome everyone. Good morning. Prem, good morning.
Yeah, don't forget.
It's good to see you too. And well, everyone, we're so happy that we're about to start. I think last week we got so many wonderful tools that I hope some of you were able to put into practice.
Giovanna, we tried right after that, and it didn't work very well, Alan. We failed. We put to use. Giovanna said, "Did you?"
We had an argument on Saturday night or Sunday morning, I forget when, and she says, "Why don't you use the tools? We were listening on Saturday." And I said, "No, I was listening. You're not using the tools."
Yeah.
I did exactly what you told us not to do.
Oh, I'm glad that we were not the only ones.
So
every time we have a workshop, we have a new fight. So we have a great model to share for everyone, but usually it's my fault. That's the problem.
It's always my fault, not usually.
Yeah.
That's
right, Lucky.
But I was sure to tell her it's her fault.
Yeah.
I was very sure to remind her it's her fault.
Always.
Always. But she always says, "No, it's my fault."
So
It's a very familiar tune.
Yes.
So I guess we all sing that song too, you know?
Actually, she even said to me, "You need to go to counseling to Alan and Pauly." I'm like, "Okay, let me think about that." I said,
Don't pull that one, Gigi.
I think we all, this is a universal song. Anyhow, so but you know, practice makes perfect. So we will continue to practice in spite of the 27 years that we have been practicing all this.
Oh, 27.
31 marriage, but we were not putting practice in any.
Right.
Then it was 27 years practicing.
Yeah, we're still practicing.
At least you guys were talking about how you were not using the tools. I was thinking, we're not using the tools, and I'm going to use my tools. He uses his tools.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Anyway, so I think there was so much, and I think Alan is going to do a little recap, but you know, there were just a few reminders, And remember, when once officially the class starts, we do close the chat. Some people then try to write and they feel we're blocking them in particular. We are not. It's just that it's actually is
distracting.
You
for
know,
everybody.
like, you know, somebody's coming here, like Alan and Pauly are not even in our time zone, you know, they're there, it's 6 in the morning, and everyone's making the sacrifice to be here. And welcome, Pauly, we can see you there.
She had to have her cup of coffee so that she could be awake.
Oh, thank God Polly showed up.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
By
beautiful.
the way, your son looks like you. Resemblance. Like
We hope so.
We were like, oh, he looks like Pauly. You know? So
he thinks like her too. He's a brilliant guy. He's not as pretty as Pauly, but
so everyone's doing a sacrifice, you know, like it takes time, and this is a small production to put this going, you know. And so when we have the chat going and everyone's giving their own little class on the side, you know, it's very distracting, you know. That's why, you know, we have a speaker. So if you're doing something because you have to, I mean, some people have kids, I understand, but you know, this is the time we give to ourselves too. This is how much do we invest in our lives, you know. We always talk about self-care. We always talk about loving ourselves, loving those that are dear to us. And this is part of it. This is how you invest time to yourself. And these investments do pay off, you know, maybe not right away, like
actually most of the time not right away,
but in the long run it does. How much are you willing to invest in you and in those you love, you know? It's to me, it's priceless. So we're here today. Let's be present. Let's be intentional. Let's be respectful, you know. Let's pay attention. Let's listen, you know. And so know that, please, that you know, we close the chat, nothing personal, but it's just to control. And once we go into the Q&A, Gigi will open it up again, right, Gigi?
No, we'll rather unmute and let them ask the question.
Remember that this is interactive. If you want to ask something politely, you can raise your hand or ask. Try to not be very abstract. Try to bring it to you, you know. It's easy to point it out, like, oh, like
don't talk about
my spouse or my children do this and everyone's wrong, and you know, no, it's like I realize
Ivana, you cannot bring up what happened yesterday with Lucky. But you have to talk about yourself. You can't talk about him.
Yeah, I cannot talk about him. Absolutely. So you know, let's bring
thank you, Alan. Thank you. You guys need to stick together, you know.
And Alan just made a new friend for life.
Yeah, I was hoping.
Many. So, so you know, let's try.
All the men are agreeing with you right now, Alan. Don't worry. Right. You have a consensus, 100% agreement. You know.
So, so with that, like, you know, so let's bring it to things that we see we struggle with and that we do have, you know. So is there anything else, Gigi, we need to announce before we pray and start?
No, just I want to let everybody know that on Wednesday night I sent out an email, and in the email there was the link to download the whole presentation of last Saturday from Alan and Pauly. So some of you, please check your spam if you haven't received the email, because it's there. And after today's class, I will also send the notes from today. But do have your journals ready so you can take notes, because this is going to be packed with awesome stuff.
Yes. So we're going to pray. And Father, we thank you for this morning. We thank you for this opportunity again, listen to your voice, to be in your presence. Father, we welcome you in our hearts, in our lives, in our relationships, in the way we interact with one another. I pray, Father, that you continue to heal our filters, the way we process things, the way we hear things, the way we demand from others. You are the lovers of lovers, and we are open to be teachable, to hear from you, to learn how to love ourselves, how to love one another, and how to love you. So Father, I want to lift up to you Alan and Pauly this morning. Thank you for their wisdom. Thank you for what they have, the gifts that they have that they're so willingly passing to others to restore, to have better lives. So Father, I pray that you bless them, give them the strength, the energy, especially to Pauly, that she needs for this morning. It is exhausting when you give so much out of yourself. So we lift them up to you. We ask that you bless them, bless their family, bless their lives. And Father, open our hearts and our ears and our beings, everything, that we can hear you, that we can have the humility not to be open to recognize for others, but that we will be quick to receive for ourselves and learn for ourselves. In your name we pray, Father. Amen. 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 So guys, it's all yours.
Well, great. Well, as long as Pauly has her coffee within the next hour, she should wake up. First, I wanted to thank Gigi for all her work. If you could thank her sometime and make sure, you know, whether you do it now with a clap or send her a text. There's a lot of background work that goes on here that makes our life a lot easier. All we have to do is get on. And for Lucky and Giovanna, we appreciate just giving us the platform to be able to share. And there's First John talks about there's no greater love that he had than that his children were walking in light. And you know, the skills are tools. They're not the answer. They're just something that helps to give the answer of connecting with each other. And I believe the Father is pleased when we interact with each other and edify each other for the need of the moment, that it might give grace to the one who hears. And that's what Ephesians 4:28 and 29 talk about, that all our communication is supposed to be building up the other person. And later in the session, we'll talk about valuing. How do I value my partner, even if I don't like you right now? And right now, it's not a problem because she's asleep, but she looks good and she's awake physically. But there are times where I'm thinking one thing, she's thinking another. We both feel like we're right. And of course, I am right, but she just hasn't caught up yet in the past 45 years. So we like to have laughter and humor. Proverbs says laughter is good medicine. And one of the things I wanted to just share before we get into reviewing what we did last week, in our marital mystery tour, we share what's a healthy relationship. And this is not something that is original to me. The author, it's adapted from Perfect Daughters by Robert J. Ackerman. He's a doctor. And again, you'll get these notes, so don't feel like you have to get everything written down. But here's what a healthy relationship is. I think it's very good. You feel respected as a person. your physical and emotional needs are met for the most part. I mean, there's no way any one person can meet all your emotional needs. That's why we have the body of believers. You're appreciated and not taken for granted. No elbowing. I see some of you going like that. No elbowing. You can communicate effectively with your partner. You can affirm and support one another. Trust, trust, trust is everywhere. There's a sense of humor and play. And even though sometimes we get mad at each other, we still keep a sense of humor most of the time. Most of the time? All right. So I can't ask her any questions right now. She has to finish her coffee. Okay. Your privacy is respected. That means even in our relationship, I will ask rather than tell. I will knock on the door rather than just bust in, even though I could, but that's not respect. You and your partner admit and seek help for your problems. You want to spend time together and you feel good about yourself. And why do you feel good about yourself? This, everything we do, unless it's Galatians 2:20 says, it's no longer I who live, but it's Christ who lives in me. The life I now live, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. So apart from the Spirit of God, it's very hard to do any of these skills or many of the things that you've been taught over the weeks from Hope4Life. So I just thought that would be a good thing to bring in here, because without respect and true love, and we talked last week, love is giving somebody what? Somebody say it.
Listening.
Love is listening. And what
You're
else?
giving yourself. You're giving yourself.
Giving yourself.
What they need, not what you want.
Yeah, it's loving people is giving them what they need, not necessarily what you want. It's so much easier for me to give the way I want to be loved. But you know what happens? The other person doesn't get it. For Pauly, her love language is acts of service. And so I can give her chocolate and flowers all day, which she's never thrown them away. She likes them. But she says, I wish you would just, go load the dishwasher. Or when our kids were small, I wish you would just take care of the kids when you come home instead of just sitting down and putting your feet up and expecting grapes and put my slippers on. And you're not laughing yet.
Keep going.
We got 3 hours. We have
a lot of material.
A lot of material. Okay. So at any rate, love is what Jesus did. He gave his life. He came to serve, not to be served. But the American way of life is comfort and have it your way. And we only go around once. So I remember when our kids were small, they had this Michelob commercial, beer commercial, and said, where you're going is Michelob. And I went, kids, where is Michelob? They had no idea where Michelob. I go, that's not our value, is it? So we need to. The way of life is. Who's that? Well, anyway, let me go on with our review. Last week, first of all, if you want, Gigi, if there may be some people that weren't here, we'll just go through it real quick in terms of our family. I think that was the first slide. So she's going to share. Careful listening is a gift, and we'll talk about that. So this is our funny. We usually do a Christmas picture. One's funny and one's serious. This is the serious one. No. So we have a nice big family, and every Thanksgiving for 36 years, we have gone and met with each other. Even though our family are all believers, David and JJ are the music people in Nashville. As you look at it, on the left side is Luke and Jessica, Matthew and Sam. And then below we have just where Pauly and I are, the two girls from Nashville, our granddaughters, Lucy and Nora. And they're 11 and 8. She's going to be 9. And Matthew and Sam are 2 and 4. And yeah, they have sibling rivalry. You know, every once in a while our kids say, you know, you should use the skills that you teach everybody else. So, all right, next one. So we asked the question, what is communication? And we think communication is the accurate exchange of information for understanding, not winning. And then we talked about, we have the scripture here. I'm trying to see if we have the scripture on our notes. Can you just read that, Gigi? Just read the scriptures there, because everything we're talking about has a scriptural base. God speaks to it.
Of course, death and life are in the power of the tongue. Proverbs 18:21. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Proverbs 15:1. The heart of the wise instructs his mouth and adds persuasiveness to his lips. Proverbs 16:23. Pleasant words are a honeycomb, sweet to the soul and healing to the bones. Proverbs 16:24. Even fools are thought wise when they keep silent.
That's what I would say to all you men. Even fools. I didn't say it, so don't shoot the messenger. Scripture says it. So sometimes it's just better to be quiet and don't defend. And even though you're right, it's important to just let them talk.
With their mouths shut, they seem intelligent. Proverbs 28. I'm enjoying this one a little too much, but it's understanding is a fountain of life to one who has it. Proverbs 16:22. Gentle words are a tree of life. A deceitful tongue crushes the spirit. Proverbs 15:4.
Yeah, so life and death are in the power of the tongue. And, you know, James talks about be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. And it also says, don't be like the mule or the horse with bit and bridle. And we have a need in our makeup to be heard, not hurt, and listened to. And so that's why listening is a precious gift that you can give your partner or your coworker or your sibling. Thanksgiving, Christmas, holidays. Take out these scriptures and review them when you get together with your lovely family. After Christmas and January, everybody comes to me as a counselor and says, you know, I thought they were going to change. And I go, probably not. So you be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger. Even with Uncle Joe, who doesn't listen to you at all. Anyway, just some of you may have that problem. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't happen on the East Coast. We don't know. All right, then we went to targets. And the targets are there to help us. We use certain words or ways of talking in different situations.
We just want you to be aware of how you say what you say and how you are coming across to the person who's listening to you. And maybe you get frustrated because people aren't responding to you the way you're hoping they're going to respond. You wonder why your partner gets defensive. And sometimes it's just because of the style of communication that you're using, that you've chosen the wrong target. You're aiming your words at the wrong bullseye. So you're speaking in such a way that that maybe you're trying to be so chatty and non-confrontational that nobody's responding to you. You're not getting any action, and you wonder why isn't he doing what I want him to do? But you're giving him too many options. You know, you're talking in a very tentative way, and you're saying, well, maybe we could possibly take out the garbage, or what would you
just tell me if you want me to take out the garbage? Just tell me, Alan. Remember we talked about self-responsible. I would like you to take out the garbage, and I'll do it. But if you ask me, do you want to take out the garbage? I'm going to go, no, I don't want to take out the garbage. Who wants to take out the garbage?
So just quickly reviewing those targets, there's
authoritative.
There's an authoritative target, which is very directive, telling people very specifically and directly what you want them to do. It's a teaching tone, sort of the way I'm talking now. I want you to do this. I would like this. I really want you to get this point. You need to pick up your toys. You need to come here. I would like you to listen to me. Those kinds of things. This is what you're doing when you're in charge, when you're leading, and you're trying to move people to action.
It's the way you're talking right now.
And that's exactly.
Right.
So then there is the conversive target, which is just very chatty, friendly, sociable, factual. You're dealing with superficial. You're not bringing up all your deep, dark feelings, or we're trying to probe into the heart of an issue. You're just talking about things. It's sort of object oriented. It's
non-threatening.
Yeah, so it's subject, like you're talking about sports, or you're talking about schoolwork, or you're just wanting to know how things are going in somebody's life. It's a very friendly way of talking. And then there is the manipulative target, which is the way that we end up talking when maybe we're feeling threatened. And so we want to gain control. And so we switch to using the word you, which might as well at that point be followed by the word dummy, because we're saying, you dummy said, you dummy, we're going to take out the garbage, but you dummy didn't do it. And now we have this big smelly mess in our kitchen, and it's your dumb fault. And so when we start pulling out yous when we're talking to that other person, it tends to put the other person on the defensive. And as we get more into discussing issues with each other, we want you to really be aware of that word you. And instead of saying things like, you said, you were going to, you did this and you did that, to say, to pull out your sensory data, which is just reporting what you have seen and what you have heard, and saying, I saw you do this. I heard you say this. I heard an inflection in your voice, rather than you were so upset, to say, well, I saw you thrust your hands into your pockets and spin around and walk out of the room. I saw you slam your books down on the table. Right. And so just sort of reporting what you have seen and what you have heard,
rather than the you pointing the finger, because that'll make your partner defensive. And again, that's not going to be helpful in connecting with each other.
Right. And then we'll get back more to being self-responsible, over-responsible, and under-responsible.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
But the next target. Well, one more thing. Sorry, Gigi, you're flipping back and forth. One more thing
That's because you're talking back and forth, not going around them.
One more thing about the manipulative target is that it has many different modes, many forms, because you can get loud and you can get threatening, you can be blaming and you can be shaming, you can be really sarcastic.
Or you can just totally, the most manipulative thing in a conversation is to be silent. And some of you don't know that, but silence, it's hard to talk to the wall. It doesn't talk back.
Yeah.
And so what I tell couples when I'm counseling, or people that are in conflict, they could be business partners, if people are talking, we still have a chance. They may be talking in very terrible ways, but at least they're talking. But when both people are just totally to themselves, that's when we have problems.
Yeah, when you're completely shut down and silent, you can't have a conversation. So and you might be silent because you feel wounded and threatened, and so you just kind of withdraw into yourself, or you're silent because you're really upset and you think if you say anything, that other person's just going to blow up. So
next slide has the modes of responsibility. So, and we're going by this fast because we did this last week. If you didn't get it, feel free to listen to the recording.
Sorry, we did not talk about the tentative target.
That's my perfectionist helping us
Yes.
do every single thing.
Well, yes, just for people who weren't here.
Right.
And a quick review.
Go
Tentative is when we're kind of being under-responsible and questioning and wondering and sort of tiptoeing into a conversation. I was wondering if, I was thinking that possibly, could we, should we, maybe, how about, well, what if we try this? And if, for instance, Alan and I are considering getting a new car, or maybe just our old car has broken down or it's costing too much for repairs, I might say, well, I was wondering what we should do about the car. What would you think about maybe possibly
brainstorming?
Maybe
basically.
we should get another car, or maybe we should get a new car, or maybe we don't need a second car right now. Or how about?
But
or
if you did all those at the same time like you just did, I would shut down. I'm just going. Which question do you want me to?
Okay, but the whole idea is, if I'm saying, well, what would you think if maybe we could borrow a car for a little while, or how about, and he says right away, that will never work.
All right,
No, we can't do that.
Are you kidding
no,
me?
but then I'm trying to be tentative, and he's moving into a very high control or manipulative mode, and that just shuts me down. I'm wanting to brainstorm. I'm wanting to just throw out some possibilities, and he's just shutting it off before I even get my first idea out on the table.
And usually opposites attract. And so usually one person is a thinker, a processor, and takes a lot of time. That's Pauly. And one person is an action-oriented person who just wants to, he thinks about it, he evaluates it, and that's what he wants.
So I need to let him know what my intention is, and we'll get to that in a minute, and let him know, hey, could we just stay in the tentative mode for a little while? I would like to brainstorm with you. I just want to get some ideas out on the table.
That's a really good idea. I think you should do that more often.
Could we just do this for a little while? Because as he has said, Alan is very action oriented, and he would actually rather have me be tentative with somebody else and come to him with my action points already prepared. But if I really have a need to process with him, I need to let him know, hey, can we just be tentative for a little while? I just really need to brainstorm with you.
And the idea of letting me know, I just want to talk about this. I don't want any answers or solutions, which for a man, it usually is very difficult. I mean, I just want to shoot it, like shopping. I want to go in the store, get it, get out, and get what I want. And she'll go and get 17 different items, try them on in the store, bring them home, say, oh, I don't like any of these, and then bring them back.
So
I just don't understand that. Do you?
So I'm wondering if there are any questions so far about what we've covered,
Reviewed.
because we've gone through this pretty quickly.
Well, and that was the point.
Yeah.
Because we want to get into the last couple of tools, and then the best part about this whole thing is you practicing it yourself.
Right. But
So
I saw Carolina.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, how are you?
Hi,
Hello.
Carolina.
My question is, beware of the you said and move it to sensory to report back. And you said something like, I saw you throw books down, for example. When I report back, it's only things I see, or can I report back things I feel?
Well,
That's a good
that's a
question.
really good question. And the next thing we're going to be reviewing is the Communistar. So that has all of those things.
But I will say this, when it's a negative situation, when I'm about to get into a conflict, it's good to say what I see and hear. I hear your voice raising and I see you pulling away from me. And I notice all the eyes, not you are making me feel mad. You do this to me all the time. Why do you, and the why, a why is always tends to make your partner feel defensive, especially if it's loud or sarcastic. I mean, sometimes I can say, honey, I just want to know why you did that. That's different than, why did you do that? You know?
Well, and part of that is being self-responsible, is owning my own reactions to something that I see Alan doing, rather than saying, you have made me such and such. Yeah. You've put me down to the point where I can no longer function. Well, that's true. Some people do end up in very emotionally abusive situations, but in our case, much of the time, I can take on a victim mentality and say, you're the reason why I'm so whatever
Down,
I am.
or
Yeah,
that this didn't work out.
You have caused me to be depressed. You've caused me to feel so sad that I can't climb out of this, and it's your fault. I have to own, I heard you raise your voice, and I felt upset about that, and instead of saying, I'm walking away from this right now, I'm going to go gather myself, I'm going to spend some time with the Lord, or I'm going to go talk to a counselor. It's, you have caused me now to curl up into a little ball, and it's your fault that I don't have a good self-image. And that's a whole other seminar. We're just talking about the communication part of it, but we can't separate sometimes the way we're processing things from the way we talk about them with the other person. So they both sides of it are really required in healthy relationships.
So what we're trying to do is give you the pieces of the puzzle, and then by the end of the first hour, we're going to put the whole thing together, because it's just coming at different. I'm trying to get the light here. Coming at the same thing from different lenses. So you have the talking targets is how I say what I say. The Communistar is expressing, here's what I think, here's what I want, here's what I need. In other words, all the parts of that star are going to be able to allow your partner or the person you're talking to, it doesn't have to be just marriage, to let you know what is going on inside of you. Sometimes I'll just say, oh, Pauly, I can't take this anymore. Well, that doesn't explain a whole bunch about what is it that you can't take? What do you want? What are you feeling? You know, I'm just telling you, I can't take this anymore. That's what I think. And so the goal will be to use each of these tools to do the one thing that we're trying to do, which is the accurate exchange of information to understand each other, not to win.
So we want to go back in that regard to the
Modes.
edifying mode. So the edifying target.
Yeah.
So when we're speaking in an edifying way, which edifying, as Alan has said, means to build up, we will be self-responsible. We'll use the word I and report openly and honestly what we are feeling, what our emotions are, what we are seeing and hearing, what we want. And that's a really big one. That was really hard for me. What we have done or will do, those action points, as well as, what have I left out? Our thoughts. This is what I am thinking about this. And this, when I saw you do this, I thought this. This is how I've interpreted what I've seen and heard you do and say. And so as a result of that, I think this. And so now this is what I want to do. This is what I am going to do, and so on, so that you report the fullness of what's going on in your experience, but you do it in such a way that it builds up the other person rather than accusing the other person.
Right. So even if I'm angry, I'm saying I feel angry and I don't like when you do such and such, but it's being self-responsible. Any questions on that?
I have a question. Why is it so difficult to hear and understand a person in a genuine and compassionate way?
Just in general, why is it hard to do that?
In general.
Yeah. I think it's because this three-letter word called sin. I think it has to do with our selfishness and our pride, and the fact that if you have a different opinion than me, different ones of us, depending on our family background, depending on our experiences with talking with somebody. Like I have somebody that when I talk to them, I know they think they're better than me and they're always right. Well, it's really hard to have a conversation with a person when they're always right and you're always wrong. I mean, whether it's political stuff or whether it's whatever, there's certain topics that we just can't talk about because he bullies me.
Well, and here's another thing, Jorge, like the first time Alan and I were learning these skills, the leader spent a great deal of time having us get in touch with what was going on inside of us. So I realized that I didn't recognize my own physical responses to emotion. So maybe Alan says something to me, and the first thing that happens is I feel this burning in my chest. It floods my throat. I feel my neck is starting to throb. My face
she is over exaggerating a little bit, but not much.
I'm just saying, I feel all these physical sensations, and I just go, okay, I'm ignoring that. I'm just going to tell him what I think. Well, all of those physical sensations, which are probably anger, are going to come out in my words, but I don't let myself.
She's not aware of it.
I'm not aware of it, so I don't think I'm angry. It's just coming out, getting poured out on him. Or maybe I feel all this burning in my throat and my eyes are starting to tear up and I'm really, really sad, but I'm not allowed to be sad. I don't, my parents never let me be sad. Oh,
well, you never saw your Holocaust surviving mom was a very stoic person. I mean, we have 4 pictures of her mom in 30 years smiling.
So maybe, maybe there's stuff going on inside of us that we don't really process well, but boom, it comes out at the other person, and we don't know. We have really strong beliefs, but they're so deep down inside of us, we don't even realize they're there because we haven't processed them with another person. But bam, they come out. You're not allowed to be that way. You shouldn't be like that.
I can go into a conversation saying, Alan, Pauly's going to use a lot of words. She's going to, because you wanted to marry a strong person, she has very strong ideas, and I didn't want to marry some weakie. But now I'm married to her, and she has very strong opinions, and she keeps them. And most of the time she thinks she's right. And I can go in saying, I know she's going to be all this, and I'm not going to get upset. But you know what happens? As soon as she says something that crosses me, I get upset. And so that I say that's my flesh. In Romans 7, it says, Paul said at the end of his life, I want to do the things that are right, but the very thing I don't want to do, I find myself doing. Who will set me free from this law of sin and death? Thanks be to God through Jesus Christ. He has set me free. And then Romans 8:1 says, there is therefore now no condemnation to those who are in Christ Jesus. And what's funny is my flesh is so strong that even though I love the Lord, I've served him, I teach these skills all the time. You know how we know we're not using our skills? We're fighting. We're going, you this and you that. And so that's a long answer to a short question, but I hope it helps a little.
Yeah, so much of it just has to do with getting in touch with what really is going on inside of you. And
I think it takes practice to learn to listen to somebody who totally thinks different than me, thinks different, feels different. When any project in the home that like right now, we would like to remodel our kitchen at some point. I am thinking numbers, I'm thinking this is practical, and she's thinking, can we get 3 people, 4 people to give us some ideas who will all have the opposite approach? And can we just, let me get Brum over here to look at it. And I'm going, honey, we come from opposite perspectives. And especially if it's something you don't believe in. I mean, I think non-believing people, people that do not have our values, some of the things that are going on in our society and community, and even the church body right now, masks or no masks, and just the whole COVID thing ends up, we don't listen to each other. I just am trying to convince you. Anybody else? I'm sorry, we should not, we need to make our answers a little shorter. So
I have a question.
Yeah.
It seems like the edifying method of communication seems to line up really well with the Communistar. Was that purposeful? Is that, are you
that's what it
implying that?
Yeah.
That edifying is the most effective?
Yeah.
The most
we find,
desired?
what we tell people who say, well, I don't want to talk, I don't want to use that star because it's too hard and whatever. We say, well, this has really helped us. This is just one way. We don't say that this is the only way to talk, but what Pauly and I find after 10 years of marriage, we were trying to settle things and we just couldn't. And what happened was, using the Communistar, being self-responsible, using these tools slowed things down. She got to say, because I would always interrupt her, she would go, okay, the rules are, he gets to say what he wants to say, then I get to say what I want to say. Now we understand each other. Now we have a lot better ability to figure out okay, what do we want to do now?
Yeah, but we also say that the skills are not for what we call pass the butter issues.
I feel good about the butter. I like the butter. I really want you to have the butter.
Okay, so Alan, I'm hearing you say you feel good about the butter.
I feel good about it.
You like the butter?
I like it.
Did you say you want the butter?
I want the butter.
Do you want the butter for your toast? Is that what you're?
You would never even get to live.
Yeah,
if you did that
in that situation, it's just, could you please pass me the butter? Okay, here you go.
So this is, we say, you use the skills. This might be something you'd write down. We use the skills more of the time for things that really matter. We use these skills more of the time for things that really matter, or issues that keep coming up over and over again that we don't seem to be able to resolve. Honey, I'd like to use my skills to talk to you about the door that keeps being opened. When I go to sleep at night, the door is always open. I am wanting you to close the door because it bothers me. I cannot sleep when light is coming in our room. Would you please be willing to close the door? Now, we may, and Solomon says it's the little foxes that spoil the vine. So it's the toilet paper and the toothpaste cap. And if you've lived, 50 years with somebody, you have preferences. But love covers a multitude of sins. So at any rate, yes, the tools are all meant, the star, and then we're going to be going on to closing the loop right now, and then we'll be talking about valuing. So if you have questions, write them down. We'll answer them. Let us get through some more of the material, so that the best part about this time is you actually trying to do the skills more than talking about them, but you do need to have some ability to talk about them before you do them. So Communistar. So let's go to the Communistar, and I think we covered this last week, didn't we? That attitude plus skills equals understanding. If your attitude is wrong or bad, or you're not coming at it, your communication from a serving type of attitude, it doesn't matter what skills you have, you're not going to end up with understanding. And in relationship, there are two things that are going on. One is how I say what I say, and the other is the actual issue. So the first thing is how I'm coming across, how I'm speaking, and that's what our skills are we're trying to use these skills to help us get understanding. And we tend to camp on the issue. We would rather deal with the issue. God's more important. God thinks the relationship is number one, not your issue. And again, if you think about 10 years ago when you were fighting over the coffee pot and whether it goes on the stove on the right burner or the left burner, right now you're going, that was a silly argument. But what we need to do is first get understanding, and then we will resolve the issue secondarily, because that's God's priority. So we went over the Communistar with feelings or emotions, wants or desires or intentions, do, which is an action statement, past, present, or future. Sense, our five senses. Usually in a conversation, it's what I hear and see, but it could be what I smell. I smell the toast burning. I see the smoke coming out. I'm thinking the toaster's going to catch on fire if we don't get the bread out of there or turn it off. Discern, remember what discern was, is God breaking into our conversation and maybe saying something to us about the situation or the issue, or maybe just the way I'm talking, that Alan, you need to tone your voice down, even though you're very adamant about this, you need to, you know, a soft answer turns away wrath. So he might speak that to me. Oh, so maybe I need to lower my voice as I talk to you. And then last one is think, my interpretation. You know, we all look at life through our grid, and sometimes we misinterpret a situation. So,
do you want to do one, or
yeah,
have somebody
I mean,
else do one?
I guess let me ask the question. You can just sort of give me a hand signal. Would it be better for us right now to model it for you, or do you want me to have a volunteer, one of you, try and do your star, and I'll just coach you through it? And you know, if you feel comfortable, it helps other people to see you. You know, you'll feel like, oh, I'm struggling. That's not a big deal. We'll help you work through that. So the goal is just to help you use the star and let others see, oh, that's, yeah, you know, and you tend to have, like I tend to feel and do, and then like Pauly tends to be a thinker and a doer.
Let me do a real quick demonstration.
Okay.
Okay, Alan, I'd like to, so here's one of the things. For those of you who are married or who are in a relationship with somebody who also knows the skills, you want to let them know that you're going to use this skill now. So I'll say to Alan, I would like to share my Communistar with you about something that happened yesterday. Is that okay with you? So that he knows we're going to do this. And if I say this to him when he's just heading toward the bathroom, you know, he might, or on his way out the door, or he's got his phone in his hand and he's, you know, that's not a good time. He might say to me, can we do this later? Or I don't have time right now to do this. I need to be able to say to him, okay, when is a good time? But I also need to let him know I want to have this kind of communication with you. So, honey, I'd like to share my Communistar with you about yesterday. Is that okay with you?
Mm-hmm.
So yesterday, I heard you say you wanted to go. Can you hear me okay if I turn to him? I heard you say you wanted to go to the Grand Canyon, and initially I felt anxious about that. I didn't want to make a long drive. I thought it would be hard to deal with the dog, and I felt comfortable where I was at home, and I initially didn't want to go. But once we went and I saw all the beauty, just the scenery along the road, and once we got there, and the canyon was so magnificent, I was so happy that you followed through and you did it, and it was such a wonderful day. I'm so glad we did it.
So where did she start? Take out your Communistar if you have it, or Gigi will put it on the screen. There you go, great. So where did she start?
With the past, with a do.
Yeah, a past action, great. Next, where'd she go from there? She said yesterday when you brought up what?
Going to the Grand Canyon.
Right, so she's just telling me what she heard.
What I heard.
Okay, then what?
How she felt.
How she felt, yeah.
What did she feel?
Anxious.
Yeah, and did I go, oh, Pauly, you always are anxious. I can't believe you don't want to do this. This is the greatest thing.
The Grand Canyon.
Yeah, so, and that's the way it used to go for the first 10 years. And I wouldn't understand why we weren't talking. I was in the room alone after that. I don't know where she went. Okay, then where'd she go?
To the thought, I thought.
Yeah, I thought what? I'm comfortable where I am. I want to be here. I don't want to interrupt, I don't want to go.
Yeah, I thought about the dog.
And thought about, yeah, right. She will think about everything that can go wrong and I'm just thinking, beautiful Grand Canyon, let's get out of here. Okay. Next, where did she go from there? Thought about the dog, but then when she saw it, what's the saw? She saw
Senses.
it. Sense, right. And then
Discern?
she realized, or she thought,
the conversation.
yeah, that it was beautiful. And she was what? Emotion. She was glad. Right. So we're not talking about whether it was good for me to make her go to the Grand Canyon or not. We're just trying to use this little issue that could have been a negative thing. It turned out to be a positive thing.
Positive.
But if I reacted in that moment and was not self-responsible and just said, Paul, I think it would be really good, and just push through. But if instead I reacted and I said, you never, why do you always think about the 10 things that are going to go wrong? Well, she's an editor. She looks for the little things in life. She is thinking about all the things that can go wrong. In our relationship, though, what I've learned is I just need to listen. I just need to let her. So, and the next skill that we're going to do is closing the loop. So usually what I'll feed back, so honey, you're feeling really anxious. You're worried about the dog. You don't want, the tires may go flat. The Grand Canyon may not be open, whatever. I mean, we have different personalities, and the skills help us in the midst of that to understand each other.
Well, just so you know, we're in Flagstaff right now. So it was only an hour and a half drive to the Grand Canyon, and it was magnificent. But I would really love to hear one of you
we need a volunteer.
Take a snapshot of something that is going on.
Okay, Connie, we're going to take.
Connie wants to do it.
All right, we got that volunteer. All right.
Yay, Connie and Eric.
All right.
Hi. No, that's
She'll
Connie.
get the most out of it because she's doing it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we were just talking about this morning because I said I want to practice this before we have the class.
Okay.
So that it should be something that's an issue for us, but it's not the most sensitive issue in the world.
Exactly. Right. And it could even be just something that happened yesterday and you're just going through the star. We just want you to try and get a feel for what it's like to use the star.
So the issue is our pool. I will explain that 30 whatever years ago when we bought our house, the first house we saw, we kind of both fell in love with it. We looked at others and it had a pool, and it was no more expensive than the same size, same nicety of houses that didn't have a pool. And so we bought this house and it has a pool. But when I advocated for getting the house with the pool, I had no idea how much work a pool is. Okay, I'd never had a pool before, and
she
I
still
did not
doesn't.
know. I thought it was just something that sits out there and looks beautiful, and you get to go out and jump in it and swim in it whenever you want. And yeah, okay. So I was expressing to him at one point. I expressed to him, "Gee, I wish we could have just had pool service." You know, now instead of whenever we look out there, we think of all the work we need to do. If we'd had pool service all this time, we could just enjoy the beauty of the pool and just. And in fact, so I started with what I want.
Right.
What I want is.
You're thinking we should just have a pool service. You want what?
What I want is a beautiful pool that I can look at and enjoy the beauty. And when I feel so inclined, I can just go out and jump in there and swim and enjoy it. And not think about the dirt that's in the bottom and the black algae that's little spots that are forming on the side and all of that now. And also be able to have a beautiful thing to bring maybe guests over and sit around the pool, whatever. So that's what I want.
Except that they'd have to come through the house.
Connie, I'll be your pool boy.
Yeah. So Connie, what would you like to do, or what would you like Eric to do, or in other words, what is an action statement? You've thought about you thought it was going to be great to have the pool, but then you realize it takes work, and that takes the joy out of having the pool. But if I had a person to take care of the pool, then I wouldn't be thinking about all that. I could just enjoy it.
Except he went and looked up the cost of pool service, okay? And if you get, there's all different levels of pool service, but if you get just the very most basic one where they come once every 2 weeks with the chemicals and blah, blah.
I give you a very special place.
You guys live in the same area? All right, hold on. We got to mention. So we're not solving the issue. That is what happens, especially us men. If you ask us a question, we're going to give you an answer. And the whole idea of the star is to go through the star. Did you notice I didn't interrupt Pauly when she gave me her star? I had a lot going on in my mind about what I thought about what she did, but I did not interrupt her. I just let her give her star. Then it'll be her turn to react to it. So anyway, but the action you'd like is to do what?
Well, ideally, I'd love to have pool service, but he, of course, being logical, went and looked up how much would it cost if, you know, let's say we had a, yeah.
You found out how much it was, and so now we have another issue.
Yeah.
So,
right.
So, but that was
Yeah,
great. Give her a hand.
Good job. Good job.
We're just trying to get you around the star. So one more person, and then we're going to move on. One more person volunteer if you can. That was great, Connie. Thank you. Now, you haven't resolved your issue. That's not our goal right now. But Eric definitely wants to resolve the issue, I'm sure. Somebody else. Anna? Here?
Is Anna having trouble hearing?
You can't hear?
No, Eric was saying something and we couldn't hear him.
Oh, I didn't see.
He was muted.
Yeah, Eric was saying something. We didn't hear
Oh,
you,
okay.
Eric.
Did you say anything, Eric? Oh, you're still muted. Press the other button. Unmute.
Okay,
There you go.
Sorry, I was just saying that we had a very good conversation about it, that we didn't get upset.
Oh, too bad.
We found
Well,
that it was quite useful to
use the star.
to use the star.
But we were wondering if we had to go in order.
Could you go
Do we have
around
to go
your
in order?
star?
I'm sorry, go on.
We were wondering, you know, do you want to go in order here? And also,
No,
does one
no.
person do their whole star
That's a
and then
very
the other,
good-
or do you alternate?
No, it's one person at a time that hits each part of the star, but I may feel, think, want, act. I mean, it may go, that's why it's a star. You can do any order you want. Sometimes when we learn it, it's just easier to go in a circle, but it's one person shares their star, then the other person shares their star. And again, the next thing we're going to be talking about is active listening, and that I feed back. So what you're telling me is you used to like dealing with, you know, seeing the pool, and then you found out all the work that it takes to do the pool, and you found out that it's too expensive right now to have a pool service come. So let's talk about now that. How do we deal with that?
Yeah, the whole thing about the Communistar is that it's a snapshot. It's a picture of what's going on inside of you regarding any particular issue. And what I realized when I first learned these skills is that I was always very aware of what I was thinking
In action.
and of what I had done or was doing, but I had a really hard time pinpointing my emotions
Or what she
and what I
wanted.
wanted. And so to tell Alan, well, I think we need to do this. I think we need to do that. I think you should have done this. I thought you should have done that. But not let him know that I'm not really angry with you. I'm feeling frustrated about something because what I want isn't happening, but I couldn't tell him what I even wanted. And so it was just a big, confusing mess. And if I said I'm feeling frustrated about something, he thought I was angry, because
When I'm frustrated, I'm angry.
when he feels frustrated, he's angry because he has a blocked goal and it's not happening. So his frustration is anger. And when I feel frustrated about something, I feel helpless. I'm trying to get someplace and it's not working. And I just feel so defeated by it. So if I said I'm feeling frustrated, then he's responding to me with anger. And I'm going, why are you so angry with me? I'm just telling you that something is making me feel so defeated and you're getting angry and that's not helping
I'm saying,
anything.
so don't do that. Just do this. And she's going, I don't want to hear do this. I just want you to know. She wants me to be a woman and say, oh, honey, I felt that way too when I didn't have that happen to me. I'm not going to do that.
So this kind of leads us into our ability to listen. And part of listening is asking clarifying questions, which we're going to get to in a minute. But I wanted to talk with you first about our listening habits. Like, what are some of the things that you're aware of in your own life that keeps you from being a good listener? Because as our slide says, careful listening is a valuable gift that you give to your partner. It tells your partner, you are important enough to me that I want to give you my full attention. I want to give you an opportunity to express everything that's going inside of you, because I want to know you better. I want to know what's really going on inside of you. And that says to your partner, you are valuable to me.
So we have about 10 minutes, I think, and let's for this part. So talk about poor listening skills.
Yeah. So what are some of the things you guys
keep you from being a good listener?
Yeah. What are some of the things that you find in your own life keep you from being a good listener, or that you recognize are poor listening habits?
I like, for example, for me, when I immediately feel accused, or when I immediately feel accused, like you, and there's one word, like Lucky often says, like it might be an issue of right now, and then he's like, like, you never, you always, and then it makes me, like what you were saying earlier, Pauly, like frustrated. All of a sudden I get frustrated, not because I'm angry, but because I feel hopeless. Like, I mean, come on, like, what do you mean? Never? Like, this, it always? And I'm like,
right. And that's
listening to me. Then we go, and he's like, you're not listening to me. You always need to be right. I don't need to be right, but come on. I mean, like, always, like, never. I mean, like, how about what's happening right now? So when I feel like, but look what you did. And when I feel that you also, I feel like I need to protect myself. I need to
Right.
Exactly.
Right. So we get defensive,
and that's why the I in front of the sentence. When we first did these skills, we had a tape recorder and we taped. And you might do this when you practice the skills. Turn on your phone and record it, not to attack your partner, but to hear. When I heard what I said to Pauly in my conversation, I said, wow, I said about 7 U's. And I didn't even know it. I wasn't even aware of it. I just, you need to do this, and you did that, and you did that. And I said, that's why you're defensive. And she's going, my goodness, don't you know that you do that to me? And so the I's in the front of the sentence really helps to diffuse some of the defensiveness. And the other thing, I can report my awareness of what's going on. Lucky, right now, I feel overwhelmed when you say every and always, etc. Could you please, can we start again? Or we'll talk about what we do is we say, can we contract for time? It's like nothing good is going to happen right now if we do it this way. So can we take a 15-minute break, or can we take a half-hour break and come back when our blood pressure is down? The Gottmans found their research couple in Washington State, and they found that if your heartbeat is going over 90 beats a minute, basically you're insane. So that's why the person says, you never said that, because I'm not thinking of that. I mean,
Well,
I have so much adrenaline and so much cortisol going in my head that, and so we need to, like one of the things that I said to Pauly, I don't think you realize how your voice, you are reacting to something and you don't even know it. Could I just go like this? If your voice is too loud, because I've been listening to people all day in counseling, and I come home and she's talking to me like this, you know, because she had 3 kids when they were young, and, you know, homeschooling, and they were just loud. And I said, try lowering your voice. And she went, oh, I guess if I lower my voice, then.
So some of the things that keep us from being able to listen are our own emotional responses. Our emotions are so high, we can't hear the other person through that. What are some other things that are?
What are external distractions?
For example, in my case, if we're having an argument and something is being said that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, I get very like frustrated, because I want to tackle this sometimes, and then something else is brought, and I'm like, that's not true, or that doesn't have anything to do with this, and I feel like I'm being, if I feel like I'm being taken in circles.
Right. So you're not sticking to one issue. When you can concentrate on one issue at a time, it's better than bringing all kinds of other things into it. Is that?
Well, not really, because I'm the one who brings other issues.
Okay.
So you have lots of thoughts going on, and past issues that are being triggered.
But it's in a discussion when I'm being told, no, that never happened, or no, like being,
right.
When I feel like I'm being tricked into believing that what I'm arguing about is not worth it, is not really a problem.
Well, and that's where sharing your whole star without being interrupted, he gets to share his whole star without being interrupted. And then we clarify and make sure we understand each other. And then we talk about solving the issue. But first we have to understand. What other things? What about TV? What about kids running around? What about noises outside?
Well, we've got cell phones. I've got an Apple Watch. I don't know how
iWatch
many
is going off all the time.
It ticks all the time, and I'm like, and then it ticks, and you have to take a look at it. There's so many things.
My solution to that is take it off.
Yeah, take off your watch, turn off your phone, turn off the TV. There are a lot of things that we need to turn off in order to give our partner our full attention.
So some of you were saying that internal things, there are thoughts going on. What if you just don't care about what they're talking about? She's going on and on about the bead, B-E-A-D, bead store, and what nice beads she found today. Now, if she's talking to one of her girlfriends, they'd be going crazy. I just don't have that much interest in beads. And you know what? She's not that interested in football. Well,
and sometimes we've just established really poor ways of communicating with each other, where I'm walking through a room because I'm putting laundry away, and he's talking to me, and I'm going, it's okay, keep talking, I'm listening, but I'm like back and forth, we're in 2 completely different rooms. And that's, sometimes
that room-to-room
sometimes
conversation.
you can do that if you're just talking about, some light subject. But if you're in the middle of an argument, or if your partner really wants some face-to-face time with you and you're walking back and forth,
that's not going to work.
That's not going to work. And a lot of times, we've especially found it here where we are in Flagstaff. This unit has 3 different levels. So there's stairs everywhere. And Alan will talk to me and I'm downstairs.
There are only 6 stairs. I mean, I was picturing the Empire State Building. Yeah, there's.
Not only can I not see him, I also, I'm running the water and I hear him, I can't hear what he's saying.
And so I'm going, what do you mean you can't hear me?
It's like,
and then she says, don't yell at me. Don't yell at me. Well, come on over here. No, you come over here.
So, we get into these habits of talking room to room or through walls or around corners.
So I may have to say, Pauly, if you want to hear me, could you please come here? Or she's saying, I'm preparing dinner. If you want your dinner, I think you should come over here. And that's where you're not dealing with skills anymore. You're dealing with, are you selfish or are you selfless? Are you willing to serve or are you going to be served?
But also sometimes we're just tired or we're anxious about something.
Or we're in pain. Like I've heard on the call, some of you have been through some operations or whatever, and you start talking about something serious and you're dealing with pain. And that pain makes it very hard to listen. Your partner may say, oh, you don't care about me? No, my stomach is killing me. But if I don't tell her that, if I don't let her know, you know what? Now is not the best time to talk about our checkbook.
So
my stomach is hurting.
Carolina had a question.
And then I think we need to go give Gigi her time, and then we'll continue after their time.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to go back to the terrible listening habits, and I think I have one
we all have bad ones. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a biggie for me, and I know for many of the ladies because of the groups I've shared with them.
Okay.
And it happens when there's a big issue, right?
Yeah.
That issue, whatever the issue may be.
Yeah, it doesn't
but then
matter.
there's mini issues, right? So when we address mini issues, the big one is triggered again, and my attitude is, fuck, here we go again. And I just shut down. I'm like, puta, like whatever, the big issue hasn't been addressed yet, and it's very difficult.
Yes, that's very good.
So I usually, shut down, and then this big one is trying to be addressed.
Right.
And other listening habit for me, that's one. And the other one is what I shared last week is the need to be right again. This need to always be right just shuts me down. It's like, whatever, fine, okay, fine, you're right. Ay, me importa un culo. It's like, I really let go, and I'm like, I toss it, and then it just normal life continues, but then it's still there, and we just push it
right.
out.
Right. So we have this whole
little issue becomes a big issue,
right.
And it starts piling up again because
you have a whole like subflooring.
Yeah.
You've got the
things
carpet,
that have been unresolved.
but underneath the carpet is this floor underneath of unresolved issues, and you have all these places where if I step over here, boom, I just stepped onto mine because it's an unresolved issue.
And I just shut down.
Pauly calls it the Swiss cheese relationship. It's like there are holes, like that ball game where you can fall into the hole and you're trying to get the ball through the maze. And that's why scripture says, don't let the sun go down on your wrath. That's why the scripture says, don't let a root of bitterness grow up in your life. And the way that happens is what we think is the skills will help you learn how to talk about those issues that have not been resolved, so that we don't have to deal with yesterday. We're just dealing with the one issue today. So that's not really skills. That's more a counseling. I need some help in dealing with my self-control and walking in the spirit, so I can listen to you and then say, okay, you have that opinion, but I have a different opinion. And then for both of us to come to agreement on our expectation about a certain issue in life.
But sometimes
And then we
just
got to stop. and let
hearing
these guys
each
go.
other all the way through an issue, we realize that, oh, I was completely misunderstanding where you were coming from.
No kidding.
And that's what, that's
saying
what
the same thing, and you're telling me the same thing, and we're not talking to each other.
So that's what we need to get to after our break. Go ahead, Gigi. Sorry.
It's not a break.
No, it's not a break.
It's not a
We
break.
don't use that term.
It's not a break.
It's an extended time of Gigi to tell us good things.
Actually, I just want to say thank you again, because I think this is so relevant to so many of us, Alan and Pauly. Thank you. And thank you for being so vulnerable and honest in front of us. And I think it's been a tough week for some of us, right?
A lot of stars have been thrown at each other.
Yeah, we still haven't learned how to go through them, like now we're just throwing them,
Yeah, when Pauly first learned her star, she just used it. I don't know if you remember Odd Job in the 007. He had a hat that he threw at, and Pauly was throwing her star at me, and I'm going, hey, wait a minute. This is supposed to help us talk, not kill me,
But I think this is so good because this is so practical, and this is basically what we all go through on a daily basis, and it's not only with spouses, with our children, with everyone.
Yes.
I think this is
absolutely
so wonderful and practical, and just to see it like that. And it's funny because we're listening to you, and when you say, okay, come on, somebody volunteer, then you realize it is hard. Even
Giovanna volunteered me.
I'm like, Lucky, you should you should talk about what happened on Saturday, which and it's a lot of the
Tell
things
them what
you
happened.
guys
It's okay to tell them.
No, it's just a lot of the things you guys are talking about, and
Yeah, it's everyday life.
the everyday life and the frustrations and accumulating stuff, and then all of a sudden, like that day by Sunday, he was arguing with things like I just asked what happened yesterday. I go, an isolated issue yesterday, that's all I need to know. And then all of a sudden we were talking about, I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know this was still there, and
yeah.
but this is, I think this is so wonderful, and definitely you guys hopefully will come down to Miami once, all this is done, and we could do, I've always had in my heart to do like a
No, Giovanna's always wanted to do this.
That's wonderful.
like a relationship, marriage thing, because we, like you guys, we see so many couples and so many things that could be resolved in simpler ways, just get so extended, so much pain we carry from one year to another year, like what you were saying, all these things we begin to put under the carpet, like I have a cat, and my daughter says, Mommy, all my little scrunchies are gone. And one day I'm like walking on the carpet and I'm feeling bumps, and I'm like, what is in here? I open and there were like 15 of them. It was like,
The cat was hiding them.
He puts them in there. So we open the carpet and we find all these issues that are there.
Exactly.
So anyhow, so this is super amazing and super good. But it's Gilbert Gilbert, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh,
Hello.
good, Gilbert.
Can you turn on your camera, Gilbert?
Give me 1 second. Sorry.
He needs to comb his hair, that's why.
I had some issues with my internet, so that's why I didn't have camera on. I'm on my phone.
Oh no, so it's okay, I guess.
Whatever.
Sometimes
It's like whatever.
Yeah.
I guess today I really wanted to just share with everybody that what we have going on here at Hope for Life. What's been going on here at Hope for Life has been an amazing experience for me. One of the things that happened recently to me, and I really wanted to share, because I thought it was something very beautiful. And so recently I've been going through some really difficult, I've been going through some really difficult moments, you know, just like everybody is. And I've been dealing with PTSD, and I've been dealing with, you know, a lot of issues that I've had in my past that have been surfacing because I've been working on them. And Laki and Giovanna have been so gracious and amazing to me, just as like they are to everybody. And so recently, I really went through I have a really hard time wanting to call people sometimes, especially if it's late and stuff like that. But I went through something very difficult, and I was having some serious issues with my dreams and my PTSD. And I ended up making the call, and I called Giovanna, and they called me back. When I called them, and I say this with a little humor, but I called them, and they were in the middle of dinner, you know, and it was later in the evening, and she said, "Oh, hi, you know, well, you know what? We'll call you back. We're in the middle of dinner." And I felt so bad at first, you know, interrupting dinner or whatever. But again, they're very sweet. And I was able to later on, I received a call, and I even got some messages from Laki as well, just to see if I was okay. And then in the evening, somewhere around 9 or 8 or something, I think it was like almost 9, I get a call back, and Giovanna was on the phone with me, and you know, it's late at night, and she spent like an hour and a half just to help me out. Now, I don't really have people that do that kind of stuff for me, just my wife. So it was really very important for me that somebody actually was willing to take the time out to help me out, even late at night, and for as long as she did. Not only that, you know, Laki is always checking in on all of us guys in the group, and checking just to see if we're okay. I mean, different times, you know, it just, and then the groups that we have here, you know, all these men and all these, well, I don't know about the women because I'm not in the groups with the women, but all these men, and I'm just hearing them talk about their things, and all those things combined have been something amazing that have really helped me since I've been coming here. And I've been seeing a lot of improvement. And we say that our wives are the ones that can tell us that. If my wife was available right now, she would tell you, oh, he's like night and day. And so I just want to encourage everybody here to just be supportive of what they have going on here. Be very supportive, because I've never seen anything like this. I'm 43. I know there's people who are even older than me who are in here and are saying the same thing. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys, and to tell Giovanna, thank you so much. And Laki, thank you so much. I am so grateful for you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. And I just encourage everybody to support what they have going on here. That's what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Gilbert. You know, it's I think it's also your commitment. I see your commitment, and I see your desire to get well. I see it. So, you know, emotions are contagious. And I think when we see someone with that desire fighting for bettering their marriage, their life, their relationship, it's contagious. We put in the same effort to, you know, it's sort of like, you know, when those people say, you know, we're going to match your donation, you know, like you give 5, we give 5, you know, like we see people putting the effort. And the truth is that at times, even when people that we don't see putting the effort, we still do it. But in your case, I think it's a no-brainer. You know, I see your heart, I see your desire, and that is also commendable, Gilbert.
Well, I don't think I could ever match anything that you guys are giving. Thank you.
No, I think it's wonderful to see your transformation, and that's a gift Lucky and I get from all of you when we see the little messes that come, you know, those things that sometimes you wonder, is this, what can we do with this? But to see God doing something beautiful and it happens right in front of our eyes, it's just a gift. It's amazing. So we're very grateful for that. So yes, there are different ways of giving, and Gigi, can we put them up? Like, I think today the group is very intimate, and it's mostly the group today, it's the heart of Hope4Life, you know? And again, we do want to thank you for just allowing us to continue to do this, to keep the doors open, to be able to welcome everyone that comes in. And, you know, like many of you have heard, this week, my cat nearly died, and I just didn't have the money to continue paying for all the surgeries and the things they were asking. And I was like, is there a place like Hope4Life for cats and animals that, you know, any animal is welcome, you know? And finally, all the veterinarians I spoke to, because it's a hospital and there were like 6 of them, they say they have never heard someone so insisting. I kept saying, like, is there anything you can do to help me save my cat? And, but, you know, so to be able to have this, I think it's a gift. It's wonderful, and we appreciate it. So,
Y le dice a mi papá, claro que sí, ¿cuántas quiere que sembremos? Y yo te aseguro que la vas a ver valorar y lo va a cuidar. Claro, sí.
Sorry, Natalia was not muted.
So someone's buying papayas here.
Natalia Cardona is buying papayas on Hope4Life.
So anyhow, can we put back the
screen?
Thank you, Gigi. And yes, and these are the different ways that you can continue to share. We just signed this week. We signed again the list of where we meet. Unfortunately, we cannot meet there for the moment, but we already signed the list, and I think this is going into our 3rd year there, fourth year there. So it's wow, you know, like unbelievable. Who would have ever thought? And it's your generosity and your kindness. So again, you know, the text giving, it's very simple. You text to that number, text the amount, and that's it. At the end of the year, you go there and they give you a total of what you've given. Is very easy. PayPal, again, it has to be hope4lifemiami.org. We say this every Saturday. There's a few Hope4Life, and last time someone says, I send a gift to hope4life.org, and I'm like, that's not us. It has to say hope4lifemiami.org. I guess simultaneously, maybe we were also supporting another ministry out there. So, but just be careful with that one. Cash App to me is also very simple. $, Hope4Life Miami, the amount. And for those that still write checks, you can write a check by mail, and it's Hope4Life, and the address is 11715 Southwest 87th Avenue. You can take a picture of the screen right now, and it's very easy to have that. Anytime you think of us, you feel generous, you feel content. So
you feel grateful.
Grateful. So dopamine is flowing through your brain, and you're like, wow, thinking of us. There you have it.
You want to pay less taxes to the IRS at the end of the year. If you give it to us, it's all tax deductible. Then you give it to us and not to the IRS.
Yeah.
It's really simple.
So
not complicated.
So, you know, like you cannot beat that, you know, and all these wonderful speakers that I think, let's give Alan and Pauly another round of applause, and you can remove this. Yay. I think it's wonderful. I think.
And I think also y'all got to realize something. When y'all hit, whether you give or not is relevant, but I'm not going to say that. When you hear stories like Gilbert, and we've heard hundreds now, if not already in the thousands, You're all part of it when you keep the doors of Hope for Life open. I mean, it's really simple. It's not rocket science. There's no, you don't need extra brain capacity for it. It's that simple. So I want to thank you all because you all know who you are. You all want to remain anonymous. You all know who you are. And we're just grateful. And Gilbert's grateful. And people like Gilbert, without even knowing who you all are, is very grateful.
Yeah, thank you. So next week,
well, okay.
Gigi?
Yeah. Okay, I'll talk about next week, and then I have something else to show you guys. So next week we have a very special speaker, Lucky and Giovanna. They usually teach the classes every Saturday. Sometimes other people teach as well, but there's a cycle, and we teach on one of the cycle. Part of the cycle is emotional maturity, and we talk about what is supposed to happen to us in different stages of our lives, and what happens when we don't receive what we're supposed to receive as a baby, as a child, as a young adult, a parent, and what an elder looks like. Now, a lot of that material comes from Dr. James Wilder. And if you haven't heard of him yet, you probably haven't been at Hope for Life for a while. You can Google him. But he mentored a very, very special lady. She's an author. She's a counselor. She's a prayer counselor. And she's also a mentor. And her name is Barbara Moon. And we're going to be delighted to have her with us next week. So there's a little video that we're going to show about her right now. Let me see. Okay. Take a look, guys.
Hello, Hope for Life. I'm Barbara Moon, and I'm happy to be with you via Zoom on Saturday, August 22nd at 9 a.m. We'll be talking about relational joy and how the brain works with joy. We'll also touch on listening prayer with Jesus and how to resolve conflict. I look forward to being with you.
So do you have anything you want to say about her, Lucky or Joey?
Well, I think we never planned this, but God has an amazing way of planning things for us. I think it's so wonderful after these beautiful 2 weekends we've had with Alan and Pauly, you know, to come to this, enter into this. And I think a lot of it is relational joy, you know, like I find one of the things for me particularly, it's funny, like Carolina was one of the ones that gave word to that for me. You know, I don't get angry easily. I'm very stable mood-wise all the time. But once I get upset, I realize that it's very hard for me to go back to my joy center. It's very difficult for me to forgive, and it's very difficult for me to let it go. Even if it's little, even if it doesn't happen often, it's very hard for me to go back to that joy center, you know? So I think this is important. And I think after we use our Community Start and all these wonderful tools that we're learning, but another important thing is, how do we get back when we're all throwing stars at each other? How do we get back to that joy center? How we can go back to our centeredness, you know? And I think that's a key thing in how to live in joy too. So I will encourage you, all of you, to come back and to listen. We're having a feast, guys. This is a time that, yes, COVID has done a lot of things. Things have changed. Things are different. But we would have never thought that through this time, we would have this opportunity to be able to bring all these beautiful people that they're sharing their life, their experiences with us. You know how long it takes for, like, Pauly and Alan to learn what they're learned, to you know, they've had to study, for them to come up with all these.
No, they've had to study, they've had to struggle, they've had to go through their pain.
And
it costed them everything in their life to,
you know, to be able to do what they do. And, you know, the work that you put in it, this takes work. These PowerPoints, right now we see them more beautifully. They're all so nice, in order, but it takes work to come up with all this and to be able to present it to somebody else. So it's amazing. So let's take advantage of this time and this opportunity. So we encourage you for next weekend to come and join us. And is she in our time zone?
Yeah, she's in that time zone.
Oh,
Thank
finally,
God.
one.
We found one person in that time zone.
I won't feel so bad.
All the spiritual giants and the other time.
Lucky, can't hear you too well.
Oh, sorry. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong.
So talk.
No,
It goes in and out. Your sound goes in.
It's okay. Don't worry about it.
So anyhow, it's just Lucky or both of us that comes in and out?
No, I could hear you, Giovanna. Lucky, I can't hear
Yeah,
you.
but I go in and out in real life, so that's.
Yeah.
No, but I want to hear you, Lucky, every time you speak.
I forgot what I had to say.
No,
I forgot it.
Okay,
Okay.
so anyhow, so we encourage you to come back, and we're so glad she's in our time zone. And you were saying that all the spiritual giants are on the other side.
On the other time zone.
So anyhow, is there anything else, Gigi, that we need?
I wanted to quickly share my screen one more time. This is our website. If you haven't visited yet, we encourage you to go ahead and do so. Here, you will always find the link right here, as if you can say, so you can go straight into the Zoom meetings on Saturdays or the support groups. In case you want to invite somebody and you're like, oh, I don't remember the number, what's the code, send them to our website, hope4lifemiami.org, and in the homepage, you will find that information. Earlier, Lucky and Giovanna were talking about giving, and so this is where you come in and you click on donate, and that's where you find the way to give through PayPal. And also, last but not least, we encourage you to visit our blog, where you can start reading some of the stories of some of the people who have been attending Hope for Life. And we encourage you also, if you've been in this walk, or even if you're just starting, what is going on and you like to write, you have a great way of expressing your emotions or what is going on in your healing journey, contact us, send us your blog, and we will publish it. And what better way to be missional? I mean, some people go to Africa, some people feed the homeless and help the poor, and that's all wonderful. I actually love that. I love that type of missions, but I also think we're feeding people with emotional wellness. And I think this is a wonderful way to help people start clearing the mind out of all the lies, which, to close, I wanted to say, this is what we're doing. We're removing the lies, all the junk. That's what we're doing. We're cleaning house. This is what we're trying to do. We're cleaning house so that we can actually let the good stuff come in. So thank you, Alan and Pauly, for helping us clean all these horrible ways of communicating. I have terrible listening skills with my husband, and I'm trying not to interrupt. I'm saying this here because it's recorded, so now I have to be accountable. And when I hear you speak, it's not to condemn myself, but I realize, man, there's so much more. There's so much more, and I'm glad there is, because then we won't get bored.
There's hope. But there is hope. When there is more, there is hope. Yeah.
And there's hope for life.
Yeah. Thank you, Gigi. Thank you. So I think that's all for that we have to say. So we give it back to you guys, and we can wait to continue learning more, because I think we all learn so much, are learning so much.
Yeah. Well, thank you. So I just want to mention our website as well is walk, WALKANDTALK, walkandtalk.org. So there are a lot of free videos there on marriage. We model things. There are podcasts. We have our communication workshop that we just put online. We videoed it and took about 2 years to finally get it online. So, and And then of course we have our books, the Marital Mystery Tour, because marriage is still a mystery to me. She says it's for her to find, for you to know and me to find out. And then the trust book, if you have issues with trust and relationship, both with God or with other people, the learning how to trust again is really helpful.
So, Gigi, I'm so glad you talked about listening because we talked about bad listening habits. We just want to talk quickly about what are good listening habits.
The operative word is quickly.
Yeah, quickly. So because we want to move on to the next thing. So just very quickly, what are some of the best listening habits that you can think of? How do you let somebody
who
know?
Hasn't spoken yet.
How do you let somebody know you're listening to them?
Best listening thing you can do.
You keep quiet.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And you look them in the eyes and you keep quiet.
That's right.
Eye contact.
But
yes, you just remember that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the eye contact, the keeping quiet, as Gigi pointed out, you don't interrupt the other person. You need to listen with an open mind. I know that one of the things that people have said is that they're not really listening to the other person, they're working on their own arguments, their own responses. So I can't hear what you're saying because I'm thinking about what I'm going to say next. But the odd thing is that if you are really listening to the other person, your own arguments, your own responses will still be there when it's your turn to speak. And
that's why you need to practice this, because that's what helped Pauly. Pauly realized she didn't have to, she would talk really fast because she knew I was going to interrupt her. And I'm going, honey, I can't even understand what you're talking about. Slow down. And she goes, well, if I slow down, you're going to interrupt me. Because for her, she is a wordsmith. She edits books and edits people's, things. So every single word is very important to her, whereas I'm a generalist. I'm just going, I'm supposed to go to the store. I'm out the door.
Well, you
and
may
she goes,
notice,
but you brought back potato chips, ice cream, and
you may notice that I often stop in the middle of a sentence because I'm searching for the perfect word.
I have that word for you.
And Alan will just jump in and finish my sentence. And many times he goes off in a different direction than where I was actually heading. And I find that very frustrating. And so he's learned that he needs to stop, just wait for me to find my word, finish my sentence. And so
sometimes 10 seconds.
We also need to be thinking about that person's Communistar and what are you not hearing from them, and ask them questions about that in particular. Like, I heard what you did, I heard what you were thinking, but I don't really know what you want. Could you please tell me what it is that you want, or what was your objective here, or how are you feeling about that? So kind of fill in the gaps in the Communistar and ask those kinds of questions.
But it's important not to take them off on another issue, or not to get your word in edgewise. So let's just do a quick review. We started with targets, and the first one was, and you can speak. It helps you learn if you participate. So the targets we had.
Authoritative.
Authoritative. Purpose is to direct or teach. Yeah.
Gather information.
Entity.
Yeah. Next one.
Manipulative.
Manipulative. That is the black hole of all communication interpersonally. And you do what kinds of things when you are manipulative?
You threat, you blame, you're loud.
Blame, loud.
Sarcasm.
Right. How about the opposite?
Control.
It's silent.
Silence.
Silent is just as
Silent.
bad. And that is not the only time I know that might be helpful is if my 3-year-old is going out into the street and I say, stop doing that, but my football coach, I didn't appreciate his manipulative communication. My, different people, it's just not a very helpful thing. Okay, then the next one.
Edifying.
Authoritative, manipulative. Let's leave edifying for the end. So another one.
Tentative.
Tentative, and what kinds of things go on there, Giorgio?
You're questioning, you're non-conclusive, you're very vague, and there's a lot of brainstorming going on.
Right. So that's when you're brainstorming, or you're bringing up a topic that if I know that I'm going to bring up the checkbook, I'm going to say, Pauly, I would like to talk to you about the gap between the dresses that you bought and in other words, I'm wondering if you saw the gap between what you spent and what we have in our account. So I'm going to be tentative rather than, you always spend too much money. I can't believe you. Okay, so edifying. What's the most important thing when you're doing edification communication? You put the word what? I in the front of the sentence to help the other person not feel defensive. Instead of you, which we say might as well be followed by dummy, because that's what you're communicating, even if you don't want to. But I feel, I think, I want. So if you're communicating feel, think, want, do, what is that? If you're edifying communication, what are you using?
Feelings.
You're using the communistar.
Yeah. Your thoughts, your wants, your senses.
Action
and discern if God speaks to you about something, or ask you maybe to apologize and say, I realize what I said was correct, but the way I said it was not right. Will you please forgive me? I'm sorry. And it doesn't always happen that way. So this may be 10% of your communication, but boy, that 10% can throw your relationship out the window if you don't use the skills when you're disagreeing with each other and having a hard time. And then listening skills, eye contact, of course, your body language, you don't want to be hunched up like this, or, usually if she walks out of the room, I know I probably said something that hurt her. So you want to be in the same room. A lot of times, like one of the things that I said to Pauly is, I need your eye contact. Even if she's doing the laundry and it's my laundry, I appreciate it, but I need you to put it down. Or Pauly tends to be a knitter. She's got so much going on up there and she's so creative. She always wants to be doing 2 things at once. But if we have a serious issue, I'm just saying, I need your eye contact. And one time I called her at Arizona Highways Magazine. She was a copy editor there. And I'm going, honey, are you typing while we're talking? She's going, oh yeah, I'm just, I can listen. I'm going, could you please, I can hear the tapping.
So there's a question that we'd like you to write down that you can ask to your partner, especially if you're married or if you're in close relationship with somebody. You can ask them, what can I do to help you open up to me? What can I do? You want to be self-responsible. What can I do to help you open up to me? And when I asked Alan that question, he told me that he really, really needs my eye contact. And that if I'm folding laundry then I'm not giving him my eye contact. And it's really important to him that I value him enough to put down what I'm doing and turn and face him and give him my full attention. That's really important. It's important to him that I'm not doing the dishes or going, doing something else around the house. So that's what was probably the main thing I learned from him, was that I need to put down what I'm doing and give him my eye contact. When he asked me that question, I told him that it was really important to me that he not interrupt me when I'm talking to him, that he not finish my sentences. I need him to let me process. So that is very important to me. So you have very specific individual things with your partners or your family members, or people that you work with closely, that if you just ask them, what can I do to help you open up to me, you might be surprised at what you hear back from them.
So let's just normally we would take 10 or 15 minutes for this, but let's just take 3 minutes, and either, if you're alone, think about what you would say to a person that you want to connect with, either a partner or somebody at work or your daughter or son. What helps me open up, to you? Or what can I do? Think about that person that you want to talk to. Think about what is it that I could do? What is it they always tend to tell me when we have conversations? This really would help me open up. Okay, so let's just take like 2 or 3 minutes and talk to the person that's in your room. No, it's not you need to do. No, you. What can I do to help you open up to me? And listen and say thank you. Don't correct or teach. Okay? Give you a couple of minutes. And again, if you're alone, think about it in terms of, what could I do to help my daughter open up to me, my son, my family member?
Can I say something? Can you hear me?
Not yet. Just, should let everybody do the exercise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
Write it down if you're going to forget. Write it
Yeah.
down.
Thank you, Alan. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me.
Hold on.
Give you 1 more minute. Again, most of the time this takes 15 minutes or so with pairs of people, but for time's sake and because Zoom is a little bit different, we wanted at least to give you a chance. Each person, if the other person didn't go, make sure they get to go. And then we'll do questions. Okay, Helen, you got the first question or statement. Got to unmute. You're not unmuted, Helen.
I gotta go make pee.
Don't.
There you go.
Can
Okay.
you hear me now?
Now we can.
Okay, when you were talking about this specific topic, I was thinking that this might help. For example, there are times when, and I see it in the movies a lot, you know, people is sharing dinner, and sometimes you say something either intentionally or not, and just somebody feels, you know, hurt,
Right.
and they just leave, you know, the table and don't say anything. And can you tell me a little bit more how can I address this type of situation?
Right. In that situation, you're not going to be able, the person is so what we call flooded with, whether it's anger or hurt, or it doesn't really matter, but they've left the table because they can't deal with the situation. You have to go back to them when they've calmed down and say, I know you can't talk to me right now about this, but we're going to talk to you about making a contract. I'll just bring it up right now. A contract means, just like a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment or something like that, you're going to make a time, a place, and what is the issue. So to contract for time means, I can't talk about this right now, Pauly. Give me a half hour. I'm going to go run to the store. I'll be back. And then can we talk about it? Or it might be tomorrow after the kids go to bed. Can we talk about this? But we make an appointment with each other to talk about this specific issue. And here's my star. I heard you yelling about whatever it was. I saw you get up and leave the table. I felt upset because I can't even talk to you when you do that. And what I would like is for us to just simply now, a day later, talk about what you tell me. What were you so upset about? And could you talk to me in a low tone? I can't hear you when you're yelling. I mean, I hear you, but I can't talk to you. So could we do this using our skills? Or if they don't know the skills, to just say, I need you to just tell me what was so upsetting. And when they pour out all this stuff, you say, so you didn't like the way I did this, and you were hurt when I said that. And you think that when we go out to dinner, you never want to bring up that topic. Yes, that's what I'm saying. You know, I'm making it up because I don't know what the
No,
thing.
I appreciate the example, yes.
So, but I have to get out of that situation. And when we're calm, just say, remember yesterday when you got up from the table? I'm not even sure what went on there. Could you explain that to me? Now, there are times where somebody, you know, we've gone through this issue so much that we need somebody outside. We need a counselor. We need Giovanna or Lucky to talk to say, I need a coach. I need a referee because we can't agree on this.
But sometimes, here's the thing about making this contract. You are making, as Alan was saying, an appointment. You are agreeing that this is an issue that we need to talk about, and we are agreeing to talk about it on Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m.
And we're
in
gonna
the
keep
living
the
room.
appointment.
We're going to sit in our living room and we're going to talk about this issue. And maybe to prepare to talk about that issue, I'm going to draw a picture of the Communistar and I'm going to fill in how I think, what I feel, what I want about this issue. And then when I sit down with my partner, I'm going to go through that star. I'm not going to bring up all kinds of other things, but I'm just going to share that. And then my partner, this is what we're going to talk about next. My partner is going to feed that back to me.
So Ephesians says, don't let the sun go down on your wrath. I mean, the Bible's saying within 24 hours, try and get your short accounts, make right with your partner. Now, we say what used to happen was at night when I'm half asleep and she's ready to start going, she would bring up an issue. We would be arguing till 1, 2 in the morning. And pretty soon I forgot, what are we even talking about? What is the issue? I'm so tired. I don't even know what this is. So we started to make an agreement that, hey, we will table this. We will contract for the next day when both of us feel like we can talk. I love you. We'll work it out. We don't threaten. We don't, we just.
Okay. Alan and I were once traveling for our anniversary. We had gone to Italy and we were on our way to Pisa. And we were passing through, we were approaching a toll booth, and I had the money. And
big mistake. I should never have had her have all the money.
And so I was trying to get the correct change, and I couldn't figure out lira, 20,000 lira, whatever. What happened? I should have just been a note. Anyway. We get to the toll booth and we're sitting there and there are cars kind of stacking up behind us.
Keep it going like that.
And Alan was getting very upset with me. And so as we finally pulled away from the toll booth, he turned to me and said, "You are the most controlling person I know." Well,
isn't that a great pastoral counselor thing to say to your wife?
So then I got upset with him for making that remark. So by the time we finally get to Pisa, we were in a huge argument with each other.
And I said, we didn't have to spend all this money to come to Italy to argue like this. We could have just argued like this at home.
And finally, we in Pisa had to make a contract that we were going to talk about this the next day because he was ready to just go back to the hotel.
I said, let's go back to the hotel.
Not even go and see the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And it was like so awful. So by making an agreement that we were going to talk about this the next morning
for 3 hours,
we were able to put it aside and then go and enjoy our time in Pisa and then go back to our hotel in Siena and sit the next morning and kind of hash it out and talk about how we felt and what each of us wanted and why he thought I was controlling and why I felt so wounded and so hurt and all of this stuff that had stacked up that we were able to talk about.
But we got to enjoy our day.
We got to enjoy our day because we had made an agreement. We knew we were going to talk about it later.
But that's because there's been a lot of practice doing this. It takes time to get to that point. At that point, it's probably 20 years after we learned the skills but we still mess up. I mean, how do we know when we're not using the skills is when we're fighting with each other and not listening and not understanding each other. But
also using the skills to talk to each other does take time.
It's work.
It is work. It's time consuming. It's labor intensive. It takes a lot of focus and concentration.
And self-control. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control, which really means Christ control. When I am trying to make my point and she is shutting down, that's like the red light on the dashboard saying, you better stop or this engine is going to totally seize up.
Yeah. So Gigi, could you put up the closing the loop
diagram? Thank you so much, Alan and Pauly. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And that's a wonderful example, and the advice of, just waiting some time until things are calm is very important.
Yeah, but
I didn't think about that. Thank you so much.
Right. You don't want to put it under the rug like the little cat, like the little hair tie disappearing.
Thank you.
So closing the loop, if you look at that diagram, you'll see that there is a little circle there. What do you think that is? little star. So that's your communistar. So that's a sender. You have a sender and a receiver. And the sender sends their message. Now, it's their message, it's not your message. So even if you disagree with it, you don't like it, you need to listen. And so the sender sends the message to the receiver, and they receive the message. They don't roll their eyes. They don't go, oh my God, this again? You don't do that. You just receive the message, and then you feed it back, and you say, in your own words, tell them what you just heard them say. It's the sender's message. They have the authority of their message. The sender has the authority of their message. In other words, you can't change it and say, oh, you don't really mean that. That's going to disrupt this whole process. You need to let them share their star. I felt this, I thought this, I wanted this, I did this. The Lord told me you're wrong. No, that's not wrong. Right. So you share your star, the other person gives it back, and then you see the message sent, and then, oh, let me clarify that. That may be what I said, but that wasn't what I meant. And so there's a clarification. And you do that until the sender says, yes, that's what I'm saying. They say it not only verbally, but with their body language. When you go, yeah, that's sort of it, that's not it. So sender has the authority, it's their message. They send the message, the receiver gives it back, sender sends it again if they have to, until this could go on for 5 minutes or an hour, depending on how emotionally charged this issue is, depending on how complicated. Like Pauly may share with me lots and lots of words, and I'll say, so you're very upset at me. And she'll go, yes, that's it. So she used all these flowery words, she wrote a book on it, and all I said was the summary, but she accepts it. Okay, then it's my turn to send my star. So there's one person that sends their star, closes the loop, and yes, that's what I'm saying. Now we know you understand, because the receiver gave back to the sender the message, and the sender says, yes, that's it. Then it's my turn, the other person's turn. So this is a long process. Those people who think real fast, they will get frustrated at the moment. But how's it been working for you up until now? So take the time now to do this, and you'll have a lot better result, we think, later. So let me just close the loop with Pauly and demonstrate it, and then we'll do something with a real issue. I think we're having problems with the light because of the background there. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to close the loop on yesterday when we went to the Grand Canyon. Honey, I'd like to use my skills to talk to you about, and just let me know if you can't hear me. But,
yeah, you talk a little louder.
I want to talk to you about this, the idea of the Grand Canyon. I had been thinking, the past 2 weeks, we talked about Friday going to the Grand Canyon, and we didn't do it. And I just thought to myself, if I don't just initiate and get this done and tell Pauly we're going, we're never going to go. We'll be done with this time in Flagstaff, and we'll go back home, and we'll never have done it. So I told you, honey, today I want to go to the Grand Canyon. I was hoping that the day was pretty clear. It was clear for me, and I hoped it was clear for you. And
okay, hold on just a second.
And this is a technique here.
Okay, so if you're getting so much information that you don't think you're going to be able to feed it back, and you'll find out how good you are at actually listening and feeding back when you go to do this exercise. We say, put up your paw, put up your hand and just say, okay, could you just hold it a minute? That doesn't mean I'm cutting you off. It's my turn. I don't agree with you. You can do, time out, or or whatever, but just say, excuse me, this is about all I can hear before I can feed it back to you. So what I'm hearing you say, Alan, is that you had been thinking about going to the Grand Canyon for a couple of weeks before you mentioned it to me, and you were concerned that we weren't going to get there if we didn't go pretty soon. Right. It was something that you had been wanting to do.
And so I said to you, I would really like to go to the Grand Canyon today. And you said, I heard you say, now? And I said, because I thought through the fact that normally you don't like a change in direction real quick. So I said, no, I mean, within the next hour or so. And so you can take your shower, get your coffee, do whatever you need to do. I just wanted you to know, I wanted to make sure you knew I really wanted to go today.
Okay. So when you brought it up to me early yesterday and you heard me say now, you wanted me to know that you didn't mean, drop everything, we're going to go right this minute. You wanted to give me time to go, but you also wanted me to know that today is the day and that you wanted to do it yesterday. And
and I also thought about, there is a tendency for you to just sort of hunker down, and so I felt excited when I got the first reaction, but then I got the next reaction. Oh, you mean like in the next hour or so, and you were amenable to going.
Okay.
And then after we went, and you said, I heard you say, I am so glad we did this. I thought, good, I hit the nail on the head. And I mean, we only have a week and a half left. It's crazy. 3 months have gone by really quick. So I'm just excited that we did it, and it was just a good experience, and that you had a good time too.
Okay. Well, so the main thing is that even though you knew that my tendency is to kind of want to stay in the same place, you were glad that I did want to go and that we went.
Right.
And
because I think we would have regretted it if we didn't.
Yeah, you think that if we hadn't done it yesterday, that we would have regretted not going.
Right. So that's not a negative it could be. In the past, that could have been a knockdown drag out because she's going, why are you interrupting my day and whatever. But did you notice that we shared the star and each point? Did you notice that she stopped me, but she didn't take me in a different direction? We're still talking about the same issue, but she's just wanting to make sure, did I get what you said? And what did I do? I said, yes. And then we continued. And when you do this process, many times you as the sender will clarify because you hear it back differently than what you said. And you go, oh, and I as the sender can clarify. It's my message. Now, this is just half the conversation. She knows what I said. I know that she heard me because she fed it back to me. Now it's your turn. So for time's sake, we're going to let her go right away. Many times we break this down and we give you time to practice, and we do a lot more. But for right now, I'd like to hear what you have to say about that.
Okay. So I just want to mention that I did not repeat back to Alan word for word
She wasn't a parrot.
What he said, but he was in agreement with what I said. Well, honey, I'd like to talk with you a little bit about the Grand Canyon too, but about when we got there. And is that okay with you?
This is a different issue. This is her issue.
So when we got there at the gate, the Forest Service gave us a couple of maps, and so I was looking at the maps and listening to Siri give us directions. And as Siri was telling us to go straight down the road, I saw you take a turn and go a different way.
Okay, hold on. So you saw me go a different way when we got into the park. And how did you feel?
I felt anxious because I want to go in the direction that Siri is telling us to go. And I said to you, Siri is telling us to go a different way, and I just saw you turn a turn. And what why are you doing that? Why are you going that way? Do you not want to go the way that Siri wants you to go? And I heard you say, no, I don't want to go the way Siri wants to go. And then later, when we had the map and we were driving around, I heard you asking me which way to go. And I asked you if you would pull over so we could look at the map together. And I heard you say you didn't want to look at the map, you just wanted to figure out how to go yourself. Yes. So I felt a little irritated, but I also realized, you know, we're just at the Grand Canyon, and if Alan just wants to drive around, you could do that.
Okay, so you were irritated when you saw me not pull over, and you were irritated that I wouldn't look at the map, but that went by quickly, and you just thought, if the guy wants to be lost, he can be lost.
That's right. And
we're at the Grand Canyon. There's so many places you can get lost.
That's right. I decided that if you wanted to just drive around in circles, that you could do that if that was what you wanted to do.
And so what did you do?
So I just folded up the map and put it away. I decided it was not a hill to die on.
Okay, so you decided this is not an argument that we should have, and you put the map away and put my comments away.
That's right. I decided we should have a good time.
All right. So what did you hear?
That would have gone so different in our car.
Yeah. Well, 20 years ago or 30 years ago, it would have been a lot different too. There have been a lot of yelling and screaming and fireworks. So that's why we use the skills. People think, hey, these guys are experts at using the skills. No, I interrupt her still and need to be self-controlled. And we end up getting in an argument, and then we go, you know, maybe we should use the skills that we're teaching everybody else how to use. So they help us. They help us to understand, and they help us to edify for the need of the moment, so it gives grace to the one who hears. So should we let one of them do it?
Yeah. We'd like to give you a chance to practice this process, because you really learn as you practice it.
So should we do it together on Zoom? I think if normally we would let you just go off by yourself, but there are so many people online that don't have a partner. I think it would be better for me to do it or Pauly to do it, close the loop with somebody, with all of us together, so you can see it. You agree?
Yes.
I think so. Okay. So who's our guinea pig that wants to try it? And we'll help you. This isn't to embarrass. This is to help us all learn how to do it. So you're going to close the loop. You're going to say something that happened using your star. And then basically I'll do it. I'll feed back to you what it is I'm hearing you say. So it could be something that happened yesterday or this week, and you're just going to report to me. It's not an interpersonal issue. It's just something that went on, unless you want me to role play your.
So I'll do it with you, Alan.
Okay.
My wife will be very proud of me if I do it with you. Kick me under the table. No, she didn't. She did. I know you want me to do it. That's why.
This is real life with Giovanna and Lucky.
So Saturday, we were driving in the car, and we were with my daughter, her friend, and our grandnephew who's 7. So I was talking, his name is Zane. So I was talking to Zane and I was saying, I don't know, how did it go? What was Zane and me talking about? No, I can't remember the details.
He needs some help.
Thank you.
Why are there alligators in the canals here?
Oh, why there are alligators in the canal? Are there alligators in the canal? Blah, 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 blah. And I was just talking to Zane, but I have this thing of Giovanna says, or maybe she's right, I don't know. I bully the 7-year-old. She
Okay.
told me last month.
So hold on, let me see. So you're in the car with Zane. Zane, is it?
Yeah, we're all in the car together. We're driving.
All in the car together.
Right.
And Zane starts asking questions about the alligators and stuff. And in the past, Giovanna says sometimes you're manipulating or.
No, she says you're like a 60-year-old man bullying a 7-year-old.
Oh, okay. So you're like bullying this poor 7-year-old.
Right.
And, okay.
But that was a month ago, but this happened a Saturday, a week ago.
Okay, Saturday. Okay.
So we were just talking, and I thought we were talking good, and I was explaining to him about the alligators and why they're there and why they're not there. We're just talking.
Right.
And then Giovanna decides to join in the conversation.
Okay.
To help him talk to me. To help
Right.
the 7-year-old talk to the 60-year-old.
Coming to his rescue.
Right. Thank you very much. So I was like, but it wasn't that kind of a conversation. At least I didn't think so.
You didn't think you were bullying.
No, not that time.
But she was there to protect him.
Yeah, and in the conversation, I said, "You're always protecting everyone from me,"
Ah, okay. So you're always protecting everyone.
Right.
Is what
And
you
I said
said.
yeah. So I think you're always protecting everyone from me. You don't need to protect people. So I went off on that.
And how did you feel emotionally when she said what she said? How did you feel?
I felt that she didn't need to defend the 7-year-old from me because I wasn't bullying him.
Okay, so that's a thought. I thought she shouldn't protect him. Were
Yeah.
you irritated? Were you confused?
I was angry.
You were angry. Okay, so you felt angry when she said that.
Right.
And what did you want her to do? At that time, I wanted her to.
Oh no! And then she took it even further because I got annoyed, and then she said to me in front of everyone, "Why are you getting annoyed with me?"
Okay, so
now the whole car is part of the conversation, not just the 7-year-old and the 60-year-old. Everyone in the car is part of the conversation.
Right. So you heard her say, "Why do you have to do that?" And it angered you because you were saying you don't have to defend him. I'm not being a bully. I'm just talking.
Yeah, correct.
And so what did you do? See, I'm trying to take him around the star.
No. I got angry. And
you got angry, but what did you?
I disconnected.
You just pulled away.
Yeah, pulled out.
And got
pulled
quiet.
the plug. Yeah.
Okay. So I want to hear some feedback.
And was angry for the next 2 weeks.
Okay, true confession. Confession is good for the
soul,
but bad for the reputation. So,
yeah.
All right. Everything that's said here stays here.
I haven't been angry all the time. I've just been angry on and off.
Just about that, right? Yeah. And whenever you think about her saying, "Why do you do that?"
Right.
Okay, so I want to get some feedback from everyone. I don't want you to take sides with whether.
Yeah, I don't want advice from anyone.
Right, we'll do
I
that
heard you were jealous.
When Giovanna calls me this week, we'll do that in counseling.
Yeah, we'll do that privately.
Okay, so I want to focus on the skills. Tell me what you heard. Different ones who haven't spoken yet. What did you hear Lucky say in terms of where did he start in his star when he first shared his input? We were in the car.
Please.
And then what?
He started with the scenario, right?
Yeah, I mean, he
with the pack.
talked about where they were, and then what part of the star did he share next? I heard Zane talking about what?
Alligators.
Alligators. You were listening. Some of you were. Some of you were asleep. But okay. So then he heard him talk about the alligators, and what did he do? He talked to him about the alligators.
About alligators.
And then what did he hear Giovanna say?
But before that, he said he felt the conversation was going all right.
All right, so he
That's
thought the conversation, even though he said he felt, he meant he thought the conversation was going okay. Good. And then what?
The manner in which he responded to Zane, Giovanna made a comment.
Right. He felt it was okay. What was the comment that Giovanna made?
And he was bullying the 7-year-old.
Right. Okay. And we're not making judgments right now. We're just trying to use the skills here.
Okay, hold on. I want to clarify the story before we continue. I didn't say it that day.
She said it a month ago.
Said a month ago that he was bullying. Okay.
Yeah.
But
So what happened in that moment was that there was a guy leaning towards a lake. It was dark at night, and I go, "Oh wow, look guys, that guy's looking at alligators."
Yes.
And they laugh and they say, "No, I think he's taking a pee." And then I realized the guy was peeing on the just standing there. And then
Into the Everglades.
Now we got the real story.
and then they were laughing, and then they would begin to talk like, why are they alligators in the lakes here? So Lucky asked, so why are they alligators in the lakes? And then I just quickly, I answered and I said, oh, because we live near the Everglades. And then Saint said, oh yeah, because of the Everglades, and then that's what got him upset. Why do you answer? Why do you give him the answer? Why do you have to say it? And I said, I thought we were all talking.
But we would. I was talking to Zane.
Right. So, okay. So, I mean, that is the issue. When I am talking to Zane, I want you to let me just talk to him. Don't correct me. Don't put your 2 cents in unless you ask. If you could say, Lucky, do you mind if I make a comment? No, I want to talk to Zane.
But in terms of the skills, just getting back to the skills, when Alan was listening to Lucky, he was just feeding back to him what he heard Lucky say. He didn't add to Lucky's message. He just wanted to ask him the kinds of questions that would draw out more
of his star.
Yeah. What did you do? What did you think? How did you feel?
Emotionally feel.
Yeah.
Right.
And then feed that back to him.
Oh, really?
And that's the kind of process that we want to see you do.
So I did it with Lucky. Now you do it with Lucky. What did you hear him say, Giovanna? You closed the loop with him.
Okay.
So Lucky, you were talking with Zane, and you do
So
it.
he didn't tell me, he didn't stay with me that same day. He just unplugged and disconnected. So Sunday I asked him, so can you tell me what happened yesterday? So so that was the Sunday conversation. So what I heard him say was, I feel you're always defending everyone from me, not only Zane, but your mother. And he mentioned all of our children, like Louis,
Okay.
Emmanuel,
Okay.
Abad, Abigail. You do it all the time. You're always defending everyone from me.
Okay, so that's what you heard him say. The question is, are you feeding back what he's saying, or you're the sender right now, right? You're saying, this is what I heard you say. You started talking about that I defend for everybody. And then how did you feel when he said that? Let's make you the sender now.
Like,
You felt,
I felt like that was not true. That was not my heart.
okay, so you thought it wasn't true. You felt defensive is what you said before.
Yeah.
So we're trying to make a difference between, in America, we say, I feel that. When I say I feel that, you shouldn't do that. That's a thought. That's not even an emotion.
Right.
I feel defensive. I feel irritated. Or Lucky said, I felt angry when I heard her say that. That's going to help clarify and get you to understand when you make sure a thought is really a thought and an emotion is really an emotion.
Right.
But go on, let's keep going around your star, Giovanna. So
Susan, you wanted to say something?
you're on. You're unmuted.
I was just affirming in my own head
You're
that.
agreeing. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
That an opinion is an opinion, an emotion is an emotion, and they cannot cross.
Well, if they cross, you get a mixed message, or you get confused.
It gets muddled. It's not clear.
My illustration is a woman will say, I feel upset. But that's an emotion. A man will say, I feel like having a steak. And I'm going, what does a steak feel like? I feel like I think I want a steak. I feel excited about having a steak. Excited is an emotion. And a woman might say, I think I'm upset. I think I'm irritated. So she says think and gives a feeling. He says feeling and gives a thought. And that's, to me, why we miss each other a lot, because even our words are not connecting.
So I just want to
and we only have about, we have about 10 minutes.
You guys can go until you finish. Don't worry.
Okay, because we want to make sure we get feedback from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys are okay with it, we're good.
Okay.
Okay. So I just wanted to add one thing. Gigi, did you have something?
I have a question. Like, are we supposed to, after, let's say, Lucky gives his star, then the receiver is supposed to send it back before?
Right. So that's what I was going to say.
You don't want to use a pen to do this. You might want to use a tissue to give it to the other person and say, it's your turn now. Somebody put together a little piece of flooring and said, you have the floor. So like the sender should have a piece of tissue. We're thinking about making up some Nerf balls so it doesn't hurt if you throw it at them.
So if I am the sender, let's say I have the pen.
I know, but I would use a pen. That's a deadly weapon.
And I'm the sender, and I give my message to Alan. Alan feeds it back to me. I'm still the sender.
Yeah.
And even though he's talking back to me and telling me what he has heard me say, I'm still the sender.
Till she says that's it.
I might say, well, that was close, but that wasn't exactly what I meant. I think he misinterpreted something.
She's
what
still
I
the
said
sender.
was, da da da, and he feeds that back to me. I'm still the sender until I say, yes, that's it. Now he's the sender. So he can now send his message to me about that same issue. And
Until
even though I feed back to him,
until I say, yes, that's it. Now, both of us understand each other. We don't know what the issue, if we agree or disagree, or maybe we disagree.
But maybe something that he has said has triggered something more in me. So I say, oh, okay, I get what you said, but that's not really what I meant. Let me say some more. And now I'm the sender again, and he feeds back to me until I say, yes, that's it. And then he gets to be the sender again. I mean, we might go back and forth.
We could do this for an hour.
An hour, and until we both realize, yes,
that's what we're talking about. I understand you. You understand me. But now what are we going to do about this?
But the whole idea is that, no, I was going to use my coffee mug. I am looking at this coffee mug, and I am seeing Alan is looking at this coffee mug.
I'm going to goes outward.
He sees this this white coffee mug. I'm looking at this coffee mug. I'm seeing this dirty, filthy coffee mug.
On the
and I'm dripping coffee. But the whole idea is that we're looking at the same mug, but he sees the outside of it and I see the inside of it. He might say, that's a perfectly clean mug. And I go, you're kidding. This thing is filthy. You need to come around and look at it from my side. And that's the whole idea of what this process does. We go back and forth. He comes around and looks at the issue from my side. Now the issue is the issue. I'm not the issue. If he's looking at it from my side, I'm going, you're the problem. You're not seeing that. You
I
need
have to get up.
You need to come around and
that
look
thing
at
is
this.
Dirty. Yeah, you're right.
You have to see what I'm seeing.
So, again, we could go on for another 2 to 3 hours because the issue isn't just learning the facts of the skills. The issue is, how do I actually do this under pressure when I feel so right and I know she's so wrong, and I need to just give my star, let her feed it back until I say, yes, that's what I'm saying. And then she gives me her star and it's totally opposite. And so sometimes you need some coaching, and I know a couple of good coaches that would be glad to help you, but we'll do more of this some other time. But any questions about the closing the loop process? And then I just want to go real quickly to valuing, and then I want to have each of you do an exercise that to me will be very meaningful. Any questions about closing the loop? And you're basically taking your star and you're giving it to the other person. The other person isn't to interrupt or make faces. They just feed it back to you, even if they disagree, and then you get your turn. So both of us will get a turn in this. That's the way it works. And then we have to come up with, once we understand, then we have to come up with, what are we going to do about the issue that's there? Not just the way you said it or what you say, but Alan, you interrupt me most of the time when we're with a group of people, and I want to be able to say what I want to say. So you want to say what you're going to say, and you don't want me to interrupt you. Yes, what are you going to do about that? And I've been trying for 45 years not to do it, but I still do it sometimes.
Alan, Pauly, hi.
I'd like to say, oh, sorry. I'll go after Georgia.
For you.
Go ahead.
Say it's
Hello,
important?
Georgia.
Would you say it's important in this community start to not bring additional points from the one that originated?
Right. That's why in the middle we say one issue.
One issue.
Now, sometimes Pauly will start on one issue, and because they're so connected to each other, you know, she's thinking about lots of things. I will ask her, you started with the issue of the Grand Canyon, but now you're talking about me interrupting you in other places. Which one do you want to talk about, the Grand Canyon or the issue of me interrupting you with other people? And she'll go, come to think of it, I think I want to talk about the interrupting with other people. And so I'll say, okay, but let's stick to that one issue, and then we'll go to another issue, but we got to stay at one at a time. Otherwise it gets confusing.
Yeah, you can't follow every rabbit trail or you never get to the end.
And I say, write it down. Just write down your other issue, but let's finish this one with our star and closing the loop. And the next skill would be valuing. How do I value you even when I disagree? And again, all this stuff is on our video that we just put out, and we're giving a discount of 30% till the end of August so that more people can have it. But it will go through the whole workshop. Somebody else? Question? Comment?
I wanted to share and thank you. For me, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to share, and I have a lot of gratitude for today's session because I didn't expect to get what I got, and that is last week I registered, wow, they both have to know the, like the targets, and
Right.
it's like, how am I going to be successful? Because I'm usually the one who, has the knowledge and the tools and this and that. So today I got the gift. I got the gift that they don't have to have it. And then I can walk them through the star by asking questions. So that was truly a gift for me in particular. So thank you for that.
That's great. You still have to have a willing party. Yesterday, I had a woman call me up and told me all the things her husband needs to do in counseling. And I said, does he want to counsel? And she said, no. And I said, well, it doesn't matter how much you know he needs this. He has to call me.
Yeah.
Because it's attitude plus skills equals understanding. Good attitude, Christ-like attitude, non-self-centered attitude, plus the skills will equal understanding. And it's been a wonderful thing for us because we used to, every 3 months, we'd blow up at each other and have no idea what was going on.
But you can still, even if I'm talking to Alan and he's really, really upset with me, I can still diffuse the situation to a certain extent by remaining self-responsible and just feeding back to him. So I'm hearing you say that you don't like it when I correct you. Is that
in
what
front of other people?
In front of other people. So as long as I remain self-responsible and just keep feeding back. So I'm hearing that you're really upset with me about this issue, and that's just something that you can do instead of responding to this emotional intensity with that same level of intensity.
Let me just go to the valuing. I just want to at least run through it real quickly, or Pauly can run through it. I don't know if you can do it real quickly. Can you do it?
Go ahead, you do it.
Okay. So here we have valuing, and I'm trying to get to my own notes here. Okay, so I can make it bigger. All right, so this is Philippians 2. Have this attitude in you, which was also in Christ Jesus. And he thought of others. Paul says to think of others as more important than yourself. It doesn't say don't think of yourself as important. It just says think of others as more important than yourself. Sorry about that. And so the happy face represents valuing. You speak for yourself. You accept and express all the parts of your star. That means your negative part as well as your positive part. In other words, I feel angry is okay when you're sharing your star. You just don't say, you make me angry. So, and then you listen without interrupting. You display a caring attitude in your body language as well as your speech. And you seek to understand more than to be understood. The prayer of Saint Francis of Assisi. And then the other one is devaluing. I don't speak for myself. I say, you did this, you did this. I'm unaware, or I refuse to express my communistar or some part of my communistar. Maybe I don't want to share my feelings. Well, that's not helpful. Or maybe I don't want to tell you what I want. Or maybe I'm not aware of what I want. I need to learn to value myself even in the negative stuff. And then I tend to interrupt and I change my partner's message or the person I'm talking to. I tell them what they're saying. You didn't really mean that. What you mean is this. And I know what you really mean because I've lived with you for so long. So there's all that kind of stuff. Displays an uncaring attitude, which means I don't care what you think. I'm telling you what I believe and it's right. And then seeks to win, not to understand. So here are the different valuing postures. I don't value me. and I don't value you. These are two losers. You are terrible, and so am I. And I don't even know why we're in this marriage. The next one is I value you, or I don't value you.
I don't value me.
I don't value me, but I value you. So, Pauly, I'm just so terrible at this. I can't even teach. But you're the best teacher in the world, and you do everything so right. And
I'm sorry.
So
always apologizing for yourself.
I'm apologizing for the air that I'm breathing. And then the next one is I value me. I'm God's gift to you, and you stink. You are just awful. I can't believe you. And then I value me, and I value you. To me, this is what God desires for us in our relationship. We both are valuable, even if we disagree. Even if my statement is wrong, I'm going to value you and your opinion, even if it's different, even if I don't like it. And then we need to resolve the issue after that. But I'm going to value you because God values you just as he values me. Remember the illustration last week where Pauly said, he pleases me. She didn't think I pleased her because I forgot the books and I was in the wrong terminal. But God said he pleases me even though he doesn't read maps and goes in the wrong direction. That's how we got through yesterday. She valued me even though she disagreed with me.
Even though he wasn't listening to Siri.
And I was being devaluing because I wasn't listening to her. So there are counseling issues and there are communication issues. There's the way we talk about what we're talking about, but then there are deeper issues that cause communication issues. Whenever anyone comes in, 90% of the couples that come into me say, yeah, our problem is communication. Well, your problem really is not communication. It's your selfishness. It's your demanding to be right all the time. It has nothing to do. Now, the communication skills we believe help to talk out that stuff. But sometimes you need some help with a skilled person who can resolve some of your issues before you start talking with each other. Does that make sense? So here's a last exercise I'd like you to do, and then we'll get feedback from you, and we'll try and shut this down. We're very passionate about this, so it's hard for us to stop. So I'd like you to you can go to the next slide where it says using all parts of your Communistar, and we won't hold you to that, but say to your partner or to somebody else in the group, so we want as much participation as we can, say, something I appreciate about you is, something I appreciate about you is. And so if you're with your partner, we're going to model it. But if you're not with a partner, then if you know somebody on the screen, say just one sentence. Don't get into a long explanation. So, honey, one thing I appreciate about you is that you overcome your desire to just stay put. And when I gave you an action that we wanted to do, you were willing to go for it, and it gives you so much joy, and that makes me happy. And I appreciate that you're willing to overcome that and get more joy as a result. It makes me happy too.
Oh, thanks, honey.
You don't have to kiss. You don't have to kiss the screen or whatever.
So something that I appreciate about you is that with you, every day is a new day and a new opportunity, that you wake up enthusiastic about the day every day. And when I am still slogging through the process of waking up, I hear you talk about your plans for the day and what we are going to do. And I see how excited you are about the day. And sometimes I feel resentful about that, But ultimately, I am so happy that you are that kind of a person because you pull me up out of some of the places where I get stuck, and I really appreciate that about you.
So that was a lot more words than one sentence, but that's what an author does. So say you're ready and let us know that you're going to do it so that we can listen.
I'm ready.
Okay.
It's to Lucky.
Great.
Because I'm alone. Lucky,
Yeah.
I really appreciate how blunt you are when you speak to me, because I never have to wonder where you're coming from. I never have to wonder if what you're telling me is the truth or if you're going around it. And I love the way you just go right to the point. And although sometimes I feel hurt, in the end, I know that you helped me grow. So thank you.
And the proper response is thank you. You don't have to explain it away or anything.
Good job.
Oh, you just want me to say thank you? Thank you, Lizzie.
That's it.
Okay, one thing I appreciate, somebody raised their hand, let us know you're going. That was great, by the way. All right, Gilbert.
This one is gonna be for Lucky also. Sorry.
All right, we can't do all of them for Lucky, but this is okay. Go ahead.
You know what? No, I'll do it better. I'll do a better one.
Oh no, he wants it now. He wants it.
Okay. I really appreciate sometimes the calls out of the blue just to see, hey, what's going on, and just to see how things are going with me, and I really appreciate that. It really makes my day, and it really encourages me and makes me feel like I am connected with you, and that you are on this journey with me. So thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
He would like to say a whole bunch more. He'll call you later.
How did you know, Alan?
I'm one of those blunt people too. Somebody else, one thing I appreciate, and try and do other people in the group. Go on, Helen. Helen, you're up.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be brief because it's for 3 persons. The first one is for Gigi. I have not even had the opportunity to meet her in person because it was my niece, through my niece, that we got in touch. And it happens that my only son passed away last year. He was 28 years old. And Gigi has even prayed for me through the phone, and she was just at the beginning sending me messages, voicemails, everything until we got in touch. And Gigi, I appreciate you so much for all that you have done and are doing for me during this difficult time of my life. And the second one is for Lucky and Giovanna. You have all my appreciation for what you do for so many people. That is not only that I'm hurt because of my personal things going on right now, but everyone in the group, and it's week after week that you connect to give so much hope.
That's good.
And so much love. And last but not least, Alan and Pauly, you have exceeded my expectations. You have done this with you are so professional, and you have helped me so much, during last Saturday and today as well, because this is such a valuable tool to practice. And you have done this with so much knowledge, but especially with a lot of love.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Helen.
Couple of more people. Keep going. Brief. One thing I appreciate about you, and who is it?
Okay, I'm gonna go since nobody's going. I am going to, this is for Susan. Susan, are you there? Can you hear me? Yes. So Susan, I wanted to thank you. One thing I appreciate about you is that you mother me beautifully. You send me these encouraging messages and prayerful comments that really speak into my heart, even without knowing what is going on in my life. It's perfect timing always, but you have been a huge blessing to me since I've met you. Thank you for mothering me and loving me.
That's great. Somebody else.
I would like to say I'm really grateful that through everything my wife and I have been through, that she hasn't quit or left or given up. And that just tells me that there's always hope.
Great. Somebody else.
Hi, I just want to say thank you so much. Because of the fact that it was supposed to be about couples, I kind of, because I'm single, I said, oh boy, here they go again, because the church always goes to this, into the marriage, and they never, address the couples. But I thank you so much because you did speak to my heart in many ways.
Oh,
and will be using your skills. Giovanna, I want to say thank you for having me, and I'm sorry, and welcoming me, and open your heart always. And I appreciate you so much. Your smile and your love means so much to me. Very much.
Great. Susan, you have one? You have to unmute.
Okay. Doug.
Very good.
Come.
Doug, you look at her. Don't look at us. Make believe we're not here.
I'm trying to figure out what you guys were doing.
And I have to have a star to help me.
All right.
Okay. First, I want to say thank you. The past 50 years is where we started, but I want to acknowledge the efforts you are making. Well, my emotions are getting in here.
It's fine. That's okay. We have stock in Kleenex usually when we're in person, so it's okay.
I hear you try. I see, and my want is for this to continue. I don't want discouragements that you stop, and I want to be encouragement that this continues. It's a slow process, and my expectations, my desires, that it would be faster. But I am grateful that you are in this journey, that we are in this journey together. I love you.
I
Well done.
You don't have to match that. We can go on to somebody else, or if you want
Somebody else will be fine.
Yeah.
Somebody else will be fine.
Okay, good. One thing I appreciate, please, 2 or 3 more, and then we're going to have to call it quits.
That you were trying.
Anybody want to appreciate somebody else on the call?
I would. Sorry, I'm driving, so I don't want to put on the camera.
No, that's fine. I like your eyes to be on the road.
Yeah, but I want to call out Alberto because I really, really, really appreciate who he is in my life. I appreciate the fact that I have a brother that is going to war with me, that's constantly on my side and always giving me words of encouragement. I feel like he's made time for me, and I've been able to freely speak to him about random things, and he's never put me down or made me feel guilty, but in other words, always encouraged me, and he's always been honest. I think that's probably the biggest factor for me from him, that he's always been honest with me about what he's going through, what I'm going through, and how he kind of sees my situation, and how we both are pretty much on the same walk, you know. And I want to show him my appreciation and show him that I'm as well very proud of him. You know, that I see growth in his life, and I see somebody that wants it as bad as I do. You know, and that's encouraging. And I also wanna thank you guys for coming out these last 2 weeks, and I want to let you know that I appreciate you guys, because the reason why I came to Hope4Life was because of a broken relationship, and there were things that you said that kind of brought back memories of how I would behave. But it's okay, you know, it's okay, because now that I'm learning these new methods and this new way of living, I'll be ready for my next relationship, whatever that means, you know. Wow. I'll be more ready, you know. But thank you guys for your vulnerability, for your time, your patience, and honestly the love that I feel from you guys. Thank you.
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, time-wise, we can't do this. I just want you to know that it is possible to do this exercise with whoever you want to outside this call. You do not need us to do this exercise. You just say one thing I appreciate about you. Sometimes at the end of the day, when I've been one place and Pauly's been another, and we've both been in our own different worlds, I'll just say, honey, one thing I appreciate, because we need something positive. The world around us right now is just trying to squeeze us into its mold. And God wants us to learn to value, appreciate, and understand one another. And that's what his word says. Love me with all your heart and love each other as I love you. And we think these skills can help you do that better. And we look forward to hopefully another time where we can be with you in person. And we just so appreciate your vulnerability, but your vulnerability is seen because of who Giovanna and Lucky are. They have followed what the Lord has told them to do, and they have given a platform for you guys to be able to be loved by God through them. And I hear it in the testimonies. And there's no greater joy than functioning in the way that God wants you to. And that's really for Pauly and I, to help people connect with God and each other. That's the byline for our ministry. And we like to walk it out. We like to walk our talk. And like you, we don't always do it very well, but we keep learning. So maybe the next 45 years, we'll be able to get it.
Yeah, thank you so much. And before we end, I also wanted to say to Gigi and Giorgio, I want to tell you guys how much we appreciate you. From the minute we asked you, we're going to do this, guys. Will you come alongside? You never even said, let us pray about it. You got on the boat. You said yes. And you didn't even know if we had a license to drive the boat. You just got on it. And today, one more time, I want to say thank you. And we appreciate you more than words and more than anything we can say. And also the team at Hope4Life. I want to tell you guys, you know who you are. You know, you're here, and we want to tell you how much we appreciate you too. Hope4Life will not be Hope4Life without a team. This is not Lucky and Giovanna, it's you guys. Also, I want to tell all of you how much we appreciate you guys, seeing the efforts you all put into your own lives. It's also fuel and the engine that keeps Lucky and I going, you know? When we see the efforts you guys are putting, last and not least, Alan and Pauly, we want to tell you thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And thank you for also coming along and saying, you know, bringing yourself here. This is what we can do, you know. So we want to say thank you. And like everyone said here, you've done it with so much love, with so much passion. I think we've learned so much from you guys. And I promise you, you guys will be coming to Miami.
Yeah.
And
We would love it.
person. And also I want to remind everyone that's still here, their books, if this was too fast and you guys want more, these two books right here, you can go
On their website.
you can go into their website. If you get tired of listening to Lucky and me, or you guys are stuck, now you can make an appointment with them, you know, like make an appointment with them, and maybe they can help you get unstuck on something that maybe Lucky and I can, or maybe when we've hit a wall. So we do not keep things, and that's one of the things that Lucky and I feel is one of our call, because we cannot cover everything, we cannot cover everyone, and this is why God puts wonderful people like this. So guys, that now you met them, you know them, a phone call to them, and maybe they can help you get unstuck on an issue or something, and I think that will be wonderful too. So thank you so much. Yes,
ask just one thing. If each person could write the one thing that I got out of this seminar, just write it in an email and send it to Lucky or Giovanna, or should it be Gigi? Just send it to Hope4Life?
Yeah, just Hope4Life is fine.
But if you all could say, just give a sentence or a paragraph, that just helps us pass that along to other people who need this, but until they actually experience it, they don't know how much they need it. So just say what you got out of it. That would be really helpful to us. And I'm sure to you guys, next time you do a seminar, to just say, this is what we have to offer, you know?
Yes.
And send a link with that question to Lucky. Lucky will send it to everyone via WhatsApp, and send the feedback back to you guys.
I'll do it right now.
Yeah. So thank you, everyone. Nudies and Prime, continue to enjoy the pool there while you guys.
I want to go in with them.
You guys are in a pool, you know.
Can I say one last thing, guys, very quickly? You said God wants us to value, appreciate, and understand each other better. And for some reason, the word vault came up. So I wrote vault, and I put value, appreciate, understand, love, and trust.
Ooh, good. Send us a picture of that.
That's great.
Gigi. Send us that. We'll use it and give you credit.
No need.
He always comes up with these wonderful things.
Visual.
Oh, that's great.
I love it.
Yeah.
Everyone, is Patty Baez still here, or she left? I think she left. Did she left? Did she leave?
We don't see her here. Patty Paez. Yeah, she's not here.
Oh, she left. Wait, we wanted to wish her a happy birthday because it was Thursday. But anyways, I guess we can
Excuse me.
let her know later.
Joey, I just wanted to say something real quick. And this is for Lucky. My brother, thank you so much. Thank you for keeping us out of our comfort zone. Thank you for challenging us when we need to be challenged. I love your abrasive manner. I never thought I'd ever say that. It's because of that you keep me in a mindset that it is a journey of recovery. And I just wanted to tell you I love you very, very much. Both of you, Jovi, thank you. From both me and Nerys, thank you for saving our marriage.
Yes. Thank you for not giving up on us ever. Even you've seen the worst of it. The worst of it. And you still love us. And that's pretty Christ-like.
We love you. Oh.
We love you guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Alan says, say thank you.
That's hard for me too.
So everyone, thank you so much. We love you guys more than words can say and express. Pauly and Alan, I mean, I think when you guys, I think we can say we're so grateful, we're wonderful, but the minute we can have you guys here, you'll realize how grateful we are and thankful. We appreciate your work, everything you've done, everything you brought to us, and what you came and put in our hearts. Thank
Yes,
you.
God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, let's give them a round of applause. Yoo-hoo! Thank you. Thank you. We love you guys.
Without you.
No, we're glad. We're glad you guys were here. Bye.
Bye.